With 2 wins in 2 tries this preseason, new head coach Freddie Kitchens brings his upstart Browns to Tampa Bay, hoping to find more answers. Will the passing game continue to click as it has? And does Garrett Gilbert seal the deal as the team's 3rd-string quarterback? The kicking game remains a huge question mark for these Browns. Is tonight the night someone pulls ahead there? And how much will we see the starters in what is traditionally the last big dress rehearsal before the regular season curtain rises? Answers to follow live from Raymond James Stadium as the Browns and Bucs clash next. It is August, and we are in Tampa, Florida, so yes, heat and humidity will absolutely be a factor here tonight in preseason game number 3. It's the 2-0 Cleveland Browns in to take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Hello again, everybody. So good to be with you again. Jay Crawford, along with the former #1 overall draft pick of the Cleveland Browns, Tim Couch. And Tim, we haven't seen Denzel Ward yet this preseason. We've seen Baker Mayfield all of 1 series. But tonight, both of the first-round draft picks from a year ago will be on the field.
I'm excited to see both of these guys, and Denzel Ward making his preseason debut tonight. Made the Pro Bowl last year as a rookie, Jay. I can't wait to watch him here tonight.
One thing that really stood out to you about Baker Mayfield in that first game, which we saw for only 1 drive, was how fast he gets rid of the football. Talk about what an asset that is to this Cleveland Browns offense.
Well, it's really impressive for a young quarterback. I think, young quarterbacks that come into this league, they get confused by defenses, but Baker has such a tremendous understanding of this offense and where to go with the football and reading coverages. He knows exactly where his outlet receivers are. If he has to scramble a little bit, he still gets it out of his hand very quickly. And Jay, over the last 7 games last year, Baker only took 1 sack, and that's because usually he's getting rid of the football in under 2.5 seconds. The defense just doesn't have time to get to him, and it's a tremendous asset to this football team.
Well, takes an enormous amount of pressure off that offensive line. Baker said earlier this week he was hoping to play the first half. When I asked head coach Freddie Kitchens how that conversation will go, he said, I have an office, he has a locker. So Freddie will determine all of the playing time for the quarterbacks tonight, but it's possible we'll see all 4. The battle for that 3rd spot between David Blau and Garrett Gilbert, how do you see it shaping up so far?
Well, it's been a good battle so far in the preseason. I think both guys have played really well and taken advantage of the opportunities that they've been given. And Garrett Gilbert last week, after the first couple possessions, things were kind of going sideways for the offense. He gathered himself, gathered the offense, marched them down the field, threw a touchdown pass, and then David Blau came in the game and played well too. Got a touchdown pass to Willis. I think both of these guys are very, very good, impressive young quarterbacks. They can get the ball down the field and they make tremendous decisions. Neither guy has turned the football over so far this preseason.
Well, the Browns so far this preseason, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. Pretty impressive by the quarterbacks. Now, how much will the starters play in what is traditionally the last dress rehearsal of preseason? For that, let's go downstairs to Dustin Fox. He's standing by with Freddie Kitchens. Dustin?
All right, so it's preseason game number 3. They always call it the dress rehearsal. What are the expectations for tonight, Coach?
Just to come out and continue to compete and see who's built on the last couple of weeks and this week in practice. And you can tell a lot about the whole body of work as you go to each game and get one under your belt and get another one under the belt and get another one under the belt and just see where those guys are.
All right, so as we approach kickoff here, do we have an idea how much we'll see Baker Mayfield?
We'll play it by ear, but he's going to start the game and then we'll go from there, see how he does. And, initially I'd like to see him in a half, but if things go well, maybe before then.
Appreciate it, Coach. Good luck.
Yeah, appreciate it, man.
So it's the Cleveland Browns and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers live from Raymond James Stadium when we come back. So it's the Browns and the Buccaneers preseason game number 3, and as we mentioned in the open, typically NFL teams will look at that 3rd game as the big dress rehearsal. But the one thing we know about Freddie Kitchens is he is anything but traditional. Here's Freddie's comments for whether he will look at this 3rd preseason game as a dress rehearsal or not.
I don't think it's necessarily you have to play guys a certain amount. I just think that's what everybody else did, and people like to just, maybe not go off of what they feel and think and go off of what everybody else does. That's like we do a lot of things, right? That's where, we're just going to go with what we feel,
Well, we love it. He's his own man. Doesn't really care about how those that came before him did it. Before we kick it off here, let's go down to the sideline now. And the other half of our broadcast crew for tonight's game, Dustin Fox, Bernie Kosar. Guys, good evening.
Good evening. So something that's going to be a little bit different about this game than the first two games is that there's a little bit of game planning involved. You watch a little bit of tape and you put a little strategy into this. So, Bernie, as Baker gets ready for his first drive, not going to be 2-minute drill. What do you want to see out of him?
Well, we want to see some continuity, some consistency. Baker wants to get some timing now. But right now they have, remember, Carl Nassib and X Brown is playing outside linebacker Sam in the 34 defense. Kind of look for this game planning to maybe spread out Carl, get him in space, and take advantage of him in a new position.
Let's get him in, and let's get him out quick.
Stay healthy.
Back to you guys.
Yeah, stay healthy is a key. In fact, if you watch last night's Carolina Panthers, you watched as their quarterback, their leader, ends up leaving the game with a sprained ankle. Cam Newton actually left the stadium in a walking boot. Now, they've updated his status since. There was some fear that it may have been a break. It's actually a sprain, but still, the season opener, Tim, is just a couple of weeks away. That's not what you want to start the season.
Not at all. I'm sure that plays a factor into these head coaches' decisions, seeing a quarterback go down like that so close to the start of the regular season. So hopefully Baker can get in here and make some plays early on, get a couple good drives in, maybe a quarter, maybe even a half, and get him out of there healthy.
Austin Seibert's kick to start the game is returned by Ronald Jones III to just past the 20-yard line. And we talked to Freddie yesterday, Tim, about how he plans to use the kickers. He didn't really tell us too much about that, but he did say one of the possibilities was to go with the two rookies. Jamie Gillum, obviously trying to make this team as a punter, as a rookie, and also Austin Seibert, the rookie from Oklahoma. Now, whether or not he'll stick with that plan or not, we'll see as the game unfolds here tonight. So Jameis Winston starts the game as the Buccaneers quarterback. He's under center as the Buccaneers take their first crack at it offensively. And they give it to the running back. And this Buccaneers offense is very balanced. Peyton Barber is going to carry the load for most of the game plan for this Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense. Not much happening there. A host of tacklers in on the stop. Winston, of course, had a terrific season a year ago, as this Buccaneers offense last year under Todd Monken, who's now the Browns offensive coordinator, basically rewrote the Buccaneers offensive record book. Winston to throw. He wants his deep man up the right side, but it is not there. Denzel Ward, the second-year man out of Ohio State, providing the coverage.
Great coverage that time by Denzel Ward, making his first action here in the preseason, and had a great year last year, was a Pro Bowler as a rookie, and you see why there, just all over the wide receiver. Great technique, doesn't interfere with receiver, but all over him and forced Jameis Winston to make a perfect throw.
3rd down 7 now for Winston and the Bucs. There's a lot of ties between these two coaching staffs, as Tampa Bay is actually going to challenge the no call on pass interference. I didn't see anything there, Tim, but let's get it out of the way early.
Yeah, I didn't see anything initially either, but we'll go back and take a look and see if there was some maybe some grabbing of the jersey or something that we didn't pick up the first time.
Bruce Arians now the head coach for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, his first year with the Buccaneers. And Tim, that's a guy that you're very familiar with.
Very familiar with Bruce. He was with me for 3 years, as Todd Bowles also, and Todd McNair also on the staff as well.
So Brashad Perriman was the intended receiver there. There was a little bit of hand jostling going on, Tim, but I don't know if there was anything that. Well, there was a hook of the arm.
Yeah,
there.
He's got the hook of the arm, and they may get him for that. But it looked like both guys were just kind of trying to fight for position. They got their arms kind of locked up. I'm not sure if Denzel actually meant to do that or not, but we'll take a look and see what the officials come up with.
And this basically is welcome to the NFL 2019 style because of the missed pass interference no call in the NFC Championship game last year between the Rams and the Saints that ultimately decided that the Rams would go to the Super Bowl over the Saints. We now have this rule. Here's the call.
Review, the ruling on the field stands as called. It'll be 3rd down.
Bruce doesn't like it. Ultimately, Tim, I think this rule is going to change the way the officials call pass interference on the field.
It's going to change. I think that, Bruce obviously upset about it. He thought there was some hand fighting going on and that Denzel had his arm locked up with the wide receiver. But, it's going to change the way things are. And I don't know if I'm a big fan of this rule yet or not. I'm going to have to see how it plays out this season. But I kind of like the way it has been in the past.
On 3rd and 7, Winston with the quick throw, and Perriman is brought down right at the first down line. Let's see what they do. It looks like they've given him enough for a Bucs first down.
Good throw that time by Jameis Winston. The Browns brought a little bit of pressure, but some soft coverage on the outside. He's able to take the slant right underneath and keep the chains moving on this drive.
Morgan Burnett on the tackle for the Browns. It is a Bucs first down, and they'll get a new set. Winston with the give again. Not much happening there for Peyton Barber as the Bucs run defense doing a good job. And Tim, that's going to be a unit this season that has a lot to do with the Browns' success or lack thereof, is how they do stopping the run.
Yeah, it's going to be key for the Browns, and they got gashed a little bit in the run game last year, but they brought in Sheldon Richardson on the inside, a former Pro Bowler. They brought Olivier Vernon over in a trade from the New York Giants, so they've shored up that defensive line, so it shouldn't be a problem this season.
Loss of 2, 2nd and 12 for Winston and the Bucs. Wants to throw, has pressure from both sides, and down he goes. It is Olivier Vernon getting to Winston for the first sack of the game.
That's a guy that should have a huge season this year in Vernon, with Myles Garrett getting so much attention on the other side. Olivier Vernon's going to get a lot of one-on-one matchups, and that time he just uses that raw power. He gets the head down, drives the offensive tackle back into the quarterback, and is able to get Jameis Winston on the ground.
And Browns fans, this is why this coaching staff is so excited about that defensive front. You've got a front four that, Tim, in my view, stacks up with any in the NFL.
I think so, too. You've got 3 out of the 4 guys have been to the Pro Bowl, and I'll tell you what, Larry Ogunjobi, the other guy, isn't far from being a Pro Bowler as well.
Winston wrapped up and taken to the ground again. This time Richardson hit him first, as twice on this series of downs, Winston goes down. So it's a pick-your-poison battle for offensive lines. Who are you going to try to double? Richardson gets free up the middle.
Well, that's got to feel good as well for John Dorsey, who brought both of those guys in the offseason, and they make plays back-to-back, getting sacks on the quarterback. That's exactly what you want to see, that type of production from those 2 players.
Chris Smith bringing Winston down. So a nice defensive series for the Browns. After giving up the first down, they get a couple of sacks. 4th down and 26. Dontrell Hilliard back in action this week. Back to return it. It is a low-line drive that bounces and goes out of bounds. So Baker and the Browns offense will get their first shot at it, and they'll do so in terrific field position. Get used to it, Browns fans. You're going to see a lot of this year. This should be fun after sitting out the second preseason game and really playing just the opening series of the first preseason game. Baker Mayfield back behind center. He will start this 3rd preseason game. How much we'll see him to be determined. But it's good to see him back out there, Tim.
It's great to see him back out there, Jay. I'll tell you, he only played the 1 possession in week 1 of the preseason, but he looked so good. He went right down the field. I think he went 5 out of 6 and threw a touchdown pass in that opening game. Can't wait to see him here tonight.
Baker to throw, wants to go deep, has Jalen Strong, who can't bring it in. Perhaps a little overthrown. There could have been some pass interference on that play.
I thought so. I thought Strong got pulled down at the end of that route when he had an opportunity to go up and make a play. It was a great throw by Mayfield, but looked like there was some tangling of the arms. Looked like the left arm of the defensive back got in. We'll probably see it better from this angle. Looked like you see how he grabbed his inside arm. He couldn't get both hands up, so maybe that was an opportunity to throw a flag.
2nd down and 10 now. Kareem Hunt in motion now, lined up in the slot. Baker, quick drop and throw, has his man, and to no one's surprise, Rashard Higgins.
Yeah, and exactly. That's what we talked about in the open with Baker getting rid of the football so quickly. The Bucs run a 3-4 defense. They bring a Sam Will blitz that time, and Baker sees it, leaves an opening out in the flat, and he just raises up and throws it to the outlet receiver. Getting rid of the football versus pressure, Jay, that's the key. Without taking those, don't sit back there and hold it. Take sacks, get rid of the football, and that's what Baker Mayfield does so well.
3rd down 5 now for Baker and the Browns. Kareem Hunt split wide in the backfield. Baker scrambling, avoids the pressure, finds his man just short of a 1st down. Let's see where they mark it. They may have given him possession at the 1st down marker. So Derek Willis with his first catch tonight on a rifle throw from Baker Mayfield.
And we talked about him getting rid of it quickly, but when it breaks down, Baker can also extend plays and make things happen. That time doing a great job moving his feet, stepping up in the pocket, getting out of that pressure, and also the awareness enough to keep his head up and find the receiver down the field to keep this drive alive.
And it is enough for a Browns 1st down, so the drive continues. And already the Browns have it inside the Bucs territory. Kareem Hunt set back, gets the give. Nothing happening up front. Struggles to get back to the line of scrimmage. Bo Allen in on the tackle for the Buccaneers. A lot of crossover when you look at these staffs. Obviously, Bruce Arians, the head coach of the Buccaneers, has a history with Freddie Kitchens. They were together in Arizona. And when you look at the staff that the Buccaneers are carrying, you recognized a lot of faces from your time with Cleveland.
A lot of familiar faces on that Bucs staff. I mentioned Bruce Arians and I were together for 3 years. He was my offensive coordinator in Cleveland. Also Todd Bowles, he was a defensive backs coach when I was in Cleveland. And Todd McNair, the running backs coach, was with us in Cleveland as well. So a lot of familiar faces. I got a chance to see a lot of those guys down the field before the game.
Baker connects to Jalen Strong, and this is one of the reasons why Jalen Strong probably has that inside track to make the team at receiver. He not only can catch the ball, but with his size, when he walked into our production meeting yesterday, Tim, it looked like a defensive end was walking in the room.
He's a big guy, 6'2", 220 pounds. He's a great target for just those type of throws. Over the middle, he's not afraid to go across the middle, get those tough yards for Baker Mayfield.
3rd down and 2. Baker alone in the backfield. Trips to the right. Batted at the line of scrimmage. That'll bring up a 4th down and 2, and it'll be interesting to see if Freddie decides to keep the offense on the field, simulate a pressure situation. But here comes the kicking game, and this will be interesting because Austin Seibert, wearing that brightly colored neon green kicking shoe, on to try what looks like to be a 54-yard field goal, Tim.
Well, this will go a long way. He's in a big battle with Greg Joseph for this kicking job, and an opportunity here to make a big statement.
It is on the way, and it is through.
Beauty.
And not only did he have enough, Tim, that had another 10 yards on it.
That thing was still rising as it went through the uprights. Boy, he's got a strong leg, no doubt about that.
And no question, that certainly is a big feather in his cap as he's trying to beat out the return kicker from last year, Greg Joseph. 54 yards puts the Browns on the board. 3-0 Browns from Raymond James Stadium. Earlier this month, the Cleveland Browns Foundation, Ohio Department of Education, and Harvard's Proving Ground launched Get to School, Stay in the Game to promote school attendance, and is now expanding statewide to help tackle chronic absenteeism and help our kids and communities succeed. Visit gettoschool.org for more information and resources. Seibert's kick, not quite to the end zone. Ronald Jones III takes it just past the 20-yard line. So, where are we on the kicker battle as we sit at preseason game number 3? Are one of the current rostered kickers the answer? Freddie talked about that earlier this week.
We're not looking to replace them right now. We're looking to get these guys better and continue to get better. And the process of evaluation and the process of judging them has not concluded yet. When it concludes, then we'll make that decision.
Well, no one makes the team, likely in preseason game number 3, but that 54-yarder from Seibert goes a long way for the drafted rookie to make the team. The reception, and then yards after the reception, Chris Godwin, whom the Buccaneers are expecting a big season from, with the catch, and then nice pickup afterwards, Eric Murray in on the tackle.
And Murray coming down from the safety position just kind of overran that play a little bit, got stiff-armed and Could have been a game. Could have stopped that for a play of for a gain of about 1 or 2 yards, but Godwin was able to break the tackle and get down the sideline.
Murray actually missing the tackle, and finally brought down. Godwin just past the 40-yard line, so a first down for Winston and the Bucs. In the shotgun, wants to throw. Quickly dumps it to his running back. Incomplete. Dustin Fox down on the field. Dustin?
Guys, it's been a battle all camp to find a kicker. You know, Austin Seibert was drafted in the 5th round. They're missing PATs in practice, missing easy kicks. And Bernie, he nails a 54-yarder that probably would have been good from 60. Is that the reason that John Dorsey drafted him? And maybe is that a breakthrough, a confidence builder?
Well, it's absolutely a confidence builder, but the kickers, all of them have really good legs, and the length of their kicks and strength of their kicks hasn't been an issue. The accuracy of it, absolutely, from an organization standpoint, from the kicking standpoint, is a positive. From an old quarterback standpoint, I certainly hope kickers just make their kicks, because we are a good football team.
Well, Austin Seibert will take all the kicks the rest of the night. Back to you guys.
All right, Dustin, thank you very much. That was something that Freddie hinted at yesterday. A good start for the rookie kicker here tonight. Jay Crawford along with Tim Couch back from Raymond James Stadium. A couple of big stories. Denzel Ward with a nice job in pass coverage early to force the Bucs to punt. And then, Tim, it's been all about this front four for the Cleveland Browns. Most teams are lucky if they have 1, maybe 2 guys that can really get after the quarterbacks. I think the Browns have 4 to 6 guys that are going to make all kinds of havoc for opposing quarterbacks this year.
I would totally agree with that. It's a very deep group, and every game we've watched in the preseason so far, and even all throughout training camp, they've been getting pressure on the quarterback continuously. It's going to be a nightmare for quarterbacks facing these guys this season.
Winston that time gets it away. Chris Godwin again on the reception. That gets the ball into Browns territory for the first time tonight. And again, we saw Eric Murray have a little bit of trouble tackling a receiver earlier, and this time a little coverage problem.
Well, he got caught with his eyes. You see him looking in the backfield at Jameis Winston. He wasn't paying attention to the wide receiver, and the receiver just able to break that out towards the boundary, and Murray's unable to flip his hips and get out there in time to stop that play.
The give on the end around this time. Not a lot happening there for Bobo Wilson. Call it a pickup of 2. So we talk about that front four that will be such a factor for this Browns defense this year. Take a look last year at their sack totals. You're talking about 30 sacks from a front four this year that could well lead the NFL in sacks.
That's such an impressive group. I mean, you got 2 guys on the inside in Ogunjobi and Richardson who can really push the pocket. They're great against the run. And then on the outside, you got guys who can really play the run as well and contain, but they can absolutely get after the quarterback. 2 Pro Bowl guys coming off that edge. It's a nightmare for quarterbacks.
Winston to throw. Has his man at the first down marker. It's Perriman again. And Winston into a bit of a rhythm now, realizing that he can't stand back there and pick his receivers. He's got to get rid of it, much like Baker Mayfield has.
Yeah, he has to get rid of the football against the Browns, and I think, he took 2 sacks on the first drive, and I think Bruce Arians came out on this drive. They threw a couple of screens and invited that D-line to get up the field. We'll just dump screens over your head, trying to get this drive started. Now Jameis is in a rhythm and getting rid of the football quicker.
1st and 10 for Winston and the Bucs at the Browns' 33-yard line. They'll keep it on the ground this time. It is Jones up the right side. Call it a gain of 6. That'll bring up a 2nd down and 4.
Touchdown saving tackle that time by Christian Kirksey, because Jones was off to the races if Kirksey doesn't make that tackle. And there was a big hole that time. Good job by that Bucs offensive line.
So the Browns, Tim, playing a 4-2-5, adding the extra nickel back. Talk a little bit about, from a quarterback perspective, what they'll see, where they might be able to take advantage of this Browns defense.
Well, I think they come out in a 4-2-5 expecting, matchup issues. You want to get an extra DB out on the field, because in today's football, teams can come out in base personnel and still spread you out and get mismatches on linebackers. Tight ends are so athletic these days, so they get that extra DB in there. But where they're vulnerable would be against the run. Obviously, you want to run at that nickel back. But the Browns are doing a very good job. They're putting guys who are really versatile enough to play very physical against the run, but also cover out in space as well.
Winston that time to O.J. Howard, the tight end out of Alabama. Just enough for a first down. Made a nice move there to make Vernon miss, buys that extra second and completes the first down throw. This time the give to Jones, nice spin, falls forward for a pickup of 6 on first down. So the Bucs staying on schedule with nice runs on first down against this Browns defense. And we talk so much about how that front four will get after quarterbacks. But one of the big concerns, when you have all the offensive weapons that the Browns have, opposing offenses are going to try to grind it out on the ground. They're going to try to keep the ball away from that Browns offense, so they'll turn into a ground control game. That's why the run stop this year is so critical for this Browns defense.
It is critical. It's critical for any defense to really be good on first down against the run, but especially, this Browns defense, because like you said, Jay, they want to get Baker and this offense on the field as much as possible, so this defense has to step up and play well and create turnovers and get off the field and get that offense back out there.
Well, good look there by the Browns pursuit defense. Joe Schobert doing a nice job to get down the line of scrimmage and get to the ball carrier. Jones tackled behind the line of scrimmage for a loss of 3, so that'll bring up 3rd down and 6 now from the Browns' 19-yard line.
I thought Denzel Ward made a nice play that time. The running back was trying to bounce that to the outside, and Ward did a good job of keeping contained, forcing the running back to cut it back to the inside where all his help was coming from.
This Buccaneers team 1-1 so far in the preseason. A 2-point loss to Pittsburgh and a 4-point win against the Dolphins. Winston on 3rd and 6, pumps, pulls it back, tries to run, but terrific job by the Browns defense to seal him in. It was Denzel Ward, it was Chris Smith, and that will bring up a Bucs 4th down.
What great coverage in the secondary that time from the Cleveland Browns. Jameis Winston had an opportunity to stand back in the pocket for a long time, which is rare against this Browns front four. But look at the secondary. Where are you going to go with that football? You got guys double covered. There's nowhere to go for Jameis Winston, and he just has to take that sack.
And credit Ward for perfect timing on that play, knowing when to break out of coverage and come to contain. Does a terrific job of bringing Winston to the ground, and that's not easy. So now it's a 37-yard field goal attempt for Matt Gay and the Buccaneers to try to bring it even. It is off the upright and no good. So the Buccaneer drive ends with no points after the missed field goal. Will Baker get another shot on offense when we come back? Baker stays in the game. He'll get another series. Browns leading the Bucs 3-0 after the missed kick. We're going to get lucky. We ran into John Dorsey, the Browns general manager, just before kickoff. He said, looks like this one's going to be rain-free. That's a good thing. Baker Mayfield back in there. And he had the best passer rating by a Browns quarterback last season for any quarterback since Bernie Kosar. Baker going deep. A little pushing there with Jalen Strong and the Bucs defender. It falls incomplete. So a couple of deep shots, flag down. A couple of deep shots by Baker so far, not connecting.
Well, I think Baker knew that he had drawn the Bucs defensive line off sides that time. That's why he just chunked that ball up there and trying to make a play down the field.
And that's a heads-up play for a second-year guy. That's an Aaron Rodgers move.
Yeah, that's a guy who understands what's going on the field. He sees everything. He realized that the flag was thrown. He knew it was on the Bucs, so he had a free play. So why not take a shot down the field?
We'll bring up a 1st and 5 for Baker and the Browns. Kareem Hunt, the lone running back. He gets the carry and runs in to a Bucs defender. Maybe a loss of 1, perhaps back down to the line of scrimmage. Down to the field now, and Dustin Fox.
Hey guys, just want to go back to that last defensive drive. I think the great sign of any great defense is that you can bend but not break. I thought on first down they were gashing us with 6-yard run after 6-yard run, and then of course they get inside the red zone and the defense bows up, get off the field, force an errant field goal. 3-0, guys. Back to you.
That's a good point. It's not the number of yards you give up, it's the number of points. And when they had to buckle down defensively, they did just that. Baker in the gun. Kareem Hunt to his left. Baker the quick throw over the middle. And Higgins was the intended receiver. Was that miscommunication, or Higgins just couldn't get to his spot?
Higgins couldn't get to his spot that time. He kind of got caught at the top of that route with the defensive back. They kind of collided, and Higgins is asking for pass interference that time. It looked like they just looked like incidental contact at the top of the route.
We mentioned in the pregame that Freddie hinted to us yesterday that we would see all 4 quarterbacks. He did say that Drew would definitely play. And you would think that we would see both of the quarterbacks trying to make the team as 3rd quarterback in Blau and Gilbert. Mayfield to throw, knocked away by the Bucs defender, intended for Rashard Higgins, so a 3-and-out for the Browns defense.
Baker did a nice job that time seeing the blitz. You saw he kind of shifted to the right side, getting away from that pressure coming off the left side, but an excellent play by number 36, M.J. Stewart, in the Bucs secondary that time, breaking underneath that throw, reading the route that Higgins was trying to run and knocking that football down.
The rookie punter on for the Browns, Jamie Gillen. We saw last week his 74-yard punt. Big leg for the young rookie. This one will hit and bounce. And that's what you want, Tim. It goes out of bounds inside the 20-yard line, so job well done by the Browns rookie punter.
And so far, a nice night by both of the rookies. We saw Seibert make the 54-yard field goal, and that time the big punt, and with no return, and that's what you want to see. I'm sure that pleased Freddie Kitchens.
Jameis Winston stays in the game. Gillen with a 50-yard punt. Nice work by the rookie, and one would think, Tim, that typically when you have younger special teams players like the Browns do coming back in Britton Colquitt at punter and Greg Joseph at kicker, that they would be the incumbents and probably have a leg up, if you pardon the pun, but I don't see that as being the case when you hear Freddie talk about it.
No, I don't think so. I think both of those jobs are wide open. You know, you draft a guy in the 5th round at the kicker position, you're going to give him a shot to make this football team, and then I think they're really impressed with the rookie punter as well, with his big leg and his ability to flip the field.
Terrence Money Mitchell just missing an interception there on the throw from Winston. Mitchell's a guy who heard his name being mentioned too often as one of the guys that may lose his job to one of the incoming rookies in the terrific pass defender out of LSU for this Browns defense in Greedy Williams. But I think Mitchell's had a terrific second half of camp, and he seems to be entrenched now as the returning starters. Peyton Barber falls forward for a couple, and that'll bring up a 3rd down. So I mentioned Terrence Mitchell, the 6th-year corner, as a guy who was hearing his name in an unfavorable light from a lot of different sources, but he looks like he's really flipped the switch and probably a lock now to start at the other corner opposite Ward.
I think so. He's just a guy that's always around the football. He makes plays, and we saw a couple weeks ago in the preseason game where someone caught a pass going down the sideline. Mitchell comes up from behind and jars the football loose. He's always doing those kind of things, and there you see him almost get an interception breaking underneath the out route. So he's a playmaker for the Browns in the secondary.
3rd and 8, Winston wants to throw, and again he's brought down. A terrific play by this Browns pass rush, and every time we look up, it's someone different. This time, Christian Kirksey applying the pressure, wrapping up his leg and bringing Winston to the turf.
The Browns bring some pressure that time. They bring the linebacker blitz with Christian Kirksey, and the last possession, Jameis was able to stand back there a little bit. I don't think the Browns like that, so they're starting to bring a little bit of heat on this possession and force a punt.
Bucs punter Bradley Pinion on to kick it away. Another nice defensive stand by this Browns defense. Dontrell Hilliard, the return man. And that's going to bring us to the end of the first quarter. The Browns get a 54-yard field goal from the rookie Austin Seibert. They lead the Bucs. It was fun pregame. So there's Freddie Kitchens, former Alabama quarterback, with a okay left-handed throw.
How about the gloves, though?
Yeah, I know, right? And then the right, he's a righty. Your comment a moment ago was...
Maybe he should have tried to throw left-handed when we beat him in college back in '97. Maybe that was the problem. He was throwing with the wrong hand.
Breaking a 75-year losing streak Kentucky did against Alabama. The Browns will get it back to start the second quarter. That one is partially blocked. And Dontrell Hilliard alertly comes up to field the ball and is finally tackled at the 35-yard line. A terrific play by the Browns special teams unit. 57, it looks like, was in there to get a hand on it. Noah Spence. Excuse me, that's...
Great play by the Browns special teams that time, getting a hand on that football. And then Hilliard at the end of that, Jay, like you said, aware enough to pick up the block punt and get a few extra yards and set the offense up with tremendous field position.
Adarius Taylor getting his hand on it. So a 35-yard punt. And that sets up the Browns in terrific field goal position. Plus position now on the 36-yard line. As Baker stays in at quarterback to start the second quarter. Kareem Hunt, the lone running back. Baker to throw. Under pressure, finds his man. It's Derek Willis who is tackled at the first down marker. So a nice throw from Baker and a nice play by Willie.
Now you see Willis comes from all the way across the formation that time. That play took a long time to develop. It's a crossing route, but Baker had to really sit in there and hold that football and wait for Willis to come into the void of that Buccaneers secondary.
It is a Browns first down. And you would think that perhaps if this drive ends in a touchdown, that might be Baker's night, but you never know with Freddie.
No, you never know. We'll see how it goes. I know he wants this first team offense to come out and have some success, put some points on the board. So this drive will go a long way in deciding what Freddie's going to do as far as playing time for Baker.
Hunt on the give. Takes the pitch over the left side of that Buccaneers defense. Solid pickup on first down. Kareem Hunt obviously will miss the first 8 games of the season as part of the suspension from the NFL. And always looking for that silver lining, the Bucs are quick to remind you that who wouldn't want an all-pro running back with fresh legs for the second half of an NFL season?
Yeah, no doubt about it. We haven't seen much of Kareem Hunt. He's been injured most of training camp. He played a little bit last week against the Indianapolis Colts, but what we have seen, he's very explosive and can get the football down the field in a hurry.
Browns are in the red zone, brought to you by Serpentini Chevrolet, home of the 20-year, 200,000-mile powertrain warranty. Baker to throw. Throws off his back foot. That is Jalen Strong, the intended receiver. Can't bring it in. But for a back foot throw, Baker's still got a lot on it.
He got a lot on it, and Tampa Bay is playing a lot of man-to-man coverage, so you're seeing the Browns running these crossing routes. You see the receivers coming across the middle here. They're trying to get a little bit of a rub, a little bit of a bump, trying to knock one of those secondary defenders off and see if they can get a receiver open, but it takes a long time for those to develop.
Tough ball for Strong to bring in. See the numbers, Browns 1 of 3 offensively on third down conversions. Easily within field goal range here, but they'd love to keep the drive moving. Third down 3. Baker, the quick throw to Willis, who had it and left it on the ground. So Carlton Davis is credited with the breakup. And Baker looking on to see if Freddie's going to kick or go, and the call is to kick.
I think Baker wanted to stay out there, but what a tremendous play that time by Carlton Davis from the Bucs. Watch him read this and go around the block of Strong and get in there and knock that football to the ground. A tremendous read of what was going on and what the Browns were trying to do that time.
Good throw by Baker. Just a really tough play for Willis to hang on to that because he was hit immediately when the ball hit his hands. Seibert from a much shorter 36 yards on his second attempt. Good snap, good hold, and that one splits the uprights. And I'm not sure we've seen a ball kicked any better this preseason by Austin Seibert than that one right there. Good height, split the uprights, and the rookie who played where Baker Mayfield played his college football, Oklahoma, 2 for 2 on this night. The story so far as the Browns lead 6-0. Resulting in points for the Cleveland Browns. This one 5 plays, 18 yards. Their first drive, 6 plays, 17 yards. Field goals of 54 and 36 yards by Austin Seibert has the Browns up 6-0. And Seibert's kick sails through the end zone, and all of a sudden, he looks like he has an atomic right leg. And the special teams for this Cleveland Browns unit, no surprise, has really performed so far this preseason.
They played great so far this preseason. Mike Clifford, the special teams coach, does an outstanding job, and Freddie really emphasizes the special teams unit, and they're doing a great job of starting to make plays. We see Seibert starting to make some kicks, and they're punting the football well. They're getting down and getting a good coverage, and the special teams look good so far this preseason.
Baker Mayfield just 29 yards passing. It's been good field position and a couple of kicks that have been the difference so far. Terrific job that time by Olivier Vernon to tackle the ball carrier Joe Schobert, also in on it. And that's going to be a loss of 2. So we talked about the importance of this run defense. And with the exception of a couple of pickups, big pickups on first down for this Bucs offense, I'd say that the Browns' run defense has graded out well so far. Second down, 12. Jameis and the Bucs. Neither team able to do much offensively. Browns taking advantage of a couple of good drives with good field position for the 2 field goals. Winston, no time to throw. Hit and dropped from behind. That is the 4th sack of the game. Chris Smith with his 2nd.
I think Jameis was able to get across the line of scrimmage that time, but Smith doing a nice job of coming in off of the block and pursuing Jameis Winston, get him on the ground. But this Browns defensive line is just getting after Jameis Winston the entire night, and the secondary is doing a great job too, forcing Jameis to hold the football.
You're right, not a sack because he did get past the line of scrimmage, in part because Smith knocked him past the line of scrimmage. 3rd down and 10 now for Winston, and again this time right up the middle, Olivier Vernon with another sack. So Tim, 4 sacks and a number of hurries for this Browns defense. Again, just a sample of things to come for this Browns defense.
Well, it's unbelievable to watch these guys get after the quarterback. That time they do a little twist between Sheldon Richardson and Olivier Vernon, and it knocks the offensive lineman off of Vernon. He's free to the quarterback and gets him on the ground. Great job that time. Great call by defensive coordinator Steve Wilkes, getting pressure on Jameis Winston once again.
To Ernest Johnson, now in as the Browns return man. Dontrell Hilliard handled the first couple of punts. A high wobbly kick gives Johnson a chance to return it. He catches it and takes it over midfield. So again, the Browns will take over in Buccaneers territory with a 6-0 lead. Will Baker get another chance on offense, or is his night done? The Browns Give Back program highlights the team's commitment to education and youth football. 9 high-quality synthetic turf fields have been donated to local schools and community programs in Northeast Ohio in the past 4 years, with Boys Hope, Girls Hope, and Akron's Ellett High School the latest. Learn more at clevelandbrowns.com/BrownsGiveBack. Baker Mayfield staying in the game as the Browns lead the Bucs 6-0, 11:04 to go in the second quarter. Mayfield to throw, can't handle the throw is Rashard Higgins. So now Baker 4 of 11, 29 yards passing. But as we throw down to Dustin and Bernie, guys, special teams have played well. The defense lights out. Give us your impression so far of the Browns in preseason game number 3.
Well, all across the board, special teams, defense, offense have played extremely well. But guys, we got to talk Baker here for a second, because Bernie was doing like a demonstration down here on the sidelines talking about Baker's poise in the pocket. You love that about him.
I'd really like to be able to show that poise as good as Baker Mayfield shows his presence within the pocket. But no question, he has great timing and accuracy. But how he's able to really show his presence within the pocket, to be able to move that 1 or 2 yards by keeping his eyes upfield, looking at the receivers, very impressive.
So Bernie, when he gets pressure in the pocket, you were showing me some things how he's able to move in the pocket.
Yeah, the ability to move, even within this perimeter here of a couple feet, by keeping your eyes open. Baker's impeccably perfect at how he throws the football under duress within the pocket.
It's good stuff. Bernie Kosar, back to you guys.
Guys, thanks, Tim. I don't know that can be taught. That's innate, isn't it?
I think it is, and it's something that Baker just really has, and it's just working the pocket, like Bernie said, like right here. He got pressure from the outside. He's able to step up, take a hit, still stays on his feet, and is able to get a completion on that. And that's, Bernie, that's exactly what you're talking about. He just does a phenomenal job of keeping plays alive.
Late flag came in. Bucs are pointing the Browns' direction. We'll see what the call is.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Defense, number 93. 15-yard penalty added at the end of the play, automatic. First down.
And that's big because it gives the Browns a first down. They would have been facing a 4th down. And you just can't do this to a quarterback. You can't put 2 hands on him and shove him out of bounds after the ball's out of his hand.
You can't do that, and that was big for the Browns because I felt like they had really no momentum going right now. Baker was just a little bit off on his throws. A little bit high to Rashard Higgins on the out route. He missed strong on an out route to this side of the field. But this keeps this drive going, and see if this offense can get something in the end zone.
That's not the first time Ndamukong Suh has been whistled for a late hit on the quarterback. Won't be the last.
Will not be his last.
It's part of his DNA, I think. So the drive continues. 1st and 10 now for Baker and the Browns on the Bucs 31. Kareem Hunt is the deep back. He gets the carry, moves it forward for a couple of yards, and that is Suh on the wrap up and tackle. Baker just 5 of 13 throwing the ball tonight. Tim, anything to be concerned about? What do you see there?
No, I don't think so. Tampa Bay is playing tight press man coverage, and you got to remember that Baker is playing without Odell Beckham Jr. and Jarvis Landry. So, you got Jalen Strong out there. You've got, and Njoku's not in there as well. Chubb's not in the backfield. So you've got some younger guys out there trying to make plays, but he's just been a little bit off on this drive, unlike the Baker that we're used to seeing where everything is just so pinpoint. He's been a little bit high on a few of his throws so far tonight.
Bucs a little anxious there.
Offside. Defense unabated to the quarterback. 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
Devin White just couldn't wait, and he came across the line early. And that moves it forward 5 yards, so call it 2nd and 1. And that opens up the playbook, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely so. 2nd and 1, you can call anything you want. You like to take a shot here because you feel like you can come back on 3rd down and convert a 3rd and short.
Baker looking to the end zone, and he can't quite connect with his big tight end, Demetrius Harris. And so was that on the throw or just is that on Harris?
A little high again. Once again on this drive, he's missed 3 throws now that have been just a little bit high. And, it's hard to miss Demetrius Harris. He's 6'7", Jay. So that the ball's just kind of selling on Baker a little bit right now. Maybe a little just antsy in the pocket. Just needs to settle down and get back to being the normal Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
3rd down and 2. We'll check with Bernie after this play. Baker with time, looking to the end zone. Rashard Higgins can't hang on. A nice throw by Baker. Would have been a tremendous catch, but he can't hold on.
That was a heck of a throw that time by Baker Mayfield. Just able to spot Rashard Higgins breaking towards the corner of the end zone. He threw an absolute dime, and we normally see Rashard Higgins come down with these type of catches, but that would have been a tough one. But that throw was right on the money from Baker Mayfield. Just the ground as Higgins was coming down jarred that football loose.
Carlton Davis, the man in coverage, so 4th down, and they're going to call it 2, but looking at the stick, it's really barely over a yard. Bernie, take it away.
Boy, it's nice to watch Baker move like we were talking about earlier in that huddle. What a beautiful throw to Hollywood Higgins to the back pylon.
Kareem Hunt, the lone back. Higgins starts in motion. The fake give. Completes it to Higgins. A nice one-handed catch for the 1st down. And finally out of bounds just before the 10-yard line.
He looked a little like Odell on that one, didn't he?
They've been watching. They've been watching.
Baker got rid of the football quickly that time, and an excellent job of just knowing where the sticks were. And Higgins does a great job of reaching out one hand, snagging that football so smoothly. Higgins is going to be a great addition, or a great player on this offense this year with all the attention going to Odell and Jarvis. He's going to get a lot of one-on-one matchups, and he and Baker have such tremendous chemistry already.
Todd Monken, the Browns offensive coordinator last year with these Buccaneers, had one of the NFL's best offenses. They ranked 3rd in total offense a year ago. Kareem Hunt finding no room on that carry, forcing a 2nd down and 10. Devin White stops the ball carrier. So as we see the 2nd quarter now move to 8:30 to play, you don't know how much time Baker will have tonight. You think he would like to finish this drive off with a touchdown, and the Browns are in the red zone. Brought to you by Serpentini Chevrolet, home of the 20-year, 200,000-mile powertrain warranty. Hunt 5 carries for just 11 yards. Nothing's really been clicking for the run game as well. Baker, 1st down throw inside the 5-yard line. This time it is Pharaoh Brown with the catch and 1st down.
Yeah, that was a big-time throw from Baker Mayfield, sitting in that pocket, staring down the middle of the field and just firing that football to Brown before he even came out of his break. Great anticipation on that throw.
We've talked about that, the timing, and really the nerve that it takes for a quarterback to throw to a spot that is vacant, but he knows his guy should and better be there.
Absolutely, especially down in this area of the field, Jay. The windows are really tight down in the red zone, but Baker really trusts his guys to let it go early.
First and goal from around the 5, and now it's going to be from the 15 as the Bucs get to Baker Mayfield.
Nothing going on down the field. Baker just had to hold the football, trying to find someone to get it to. But in this area of the field, if your first and second read is not there, you really don't have a whole lot of time. You don't want to take a sack down here, so just kind of throw that football away. But, Baker trying to extend the play, which he's really good at. It's hard for him to get in the habit of throwing away when he's so good at extending plays and making something happen.
Carl Nassib getting in on that. A guy we know well. Raheem Nunez-Roches also the first to hit Baker. Second and goal from the 12. Mayfield to throw. Strong on a quick slant. Can't bring it in, but he was draped with the Bucs defender. Critical third down now for Mayfield and the Browns. That's one that would have gone a long way, obviously. Baker wanted the call, but
I'm with Baker on that one. I thought there was a little bit of early contact on Strong, and I think Freddie and Baker both feel the same way.
Third and goal now. Baker 7 of 18, 50 yards. And we're going to have a timeout before the play. Give both teams a chance to think about it. And I'm wondering if Freddie doesn't want to challenge that. Maybe this will give him more time to think about it. After the timeout, Freddie deciding not to challenge what could have been a pass interference on Deon Buchanan. Tim, do you see it?
I think it's pass interference.
I mean, he's on his hip.
Yeah, I think clearly Buchanan hooked the hip of Jalen Strong. That time this should have been a pass interference.
Interesting. Freddie not to challenge. Baker on third and goal. Over the middle. That's definitely pass interference. Higgins wanted the flag. He gets the flag. And that'll put the Browns inside the 5-yard line. Kentrell Bryce, the likely offender. Let's see.
There are 2 fouls on the play, 1 on each team. Holding, offense, number 78. Pass interference, defense, number 24. Those penalties will offset. Replay, third down.
Greg Robinson called for the hold, so essentially we'll just reset and do it all over again. Clearly pass interference, and now a look at
clearly a hold that time by Greg Robinson. He got beat to the inside and just wrapped up the defender. Didn't want to give him a free shot on Baker Mayfield. And in the preseason, I'm okay with that if I'm Baker Mayfield. I don't want to take that hit either.
Protect your quarterback. Third down and goal from the 12. Try it again. 3 receivers to the top. 2, including Kareem Hunt, to the bottom. Baker, the middle of the field opens up. Throw to the end zone, and it can't be brought down. Harris was the intended receiver, so the Browns will get another field goal try. It would have been a tough catch.
Would have been a tough catch, but I thought Baker Mayfield did a nice job of putting that football where only his guy could get it. You got a 6'7" tight end. You come out of the pocket, you find him in the back of the end zone. Just throw it up high, see if he can possibly come down with a miraculous catch. But 2 defenders on him, they're going to knock that football away. But good placement that time on the throw, where it's our guys or no one's.
Put it in the perfect spot. So Seibert, with his bright greenish yellow kicking shoe, will get a third opportunity of the night. This one from the 30-yard line. And again, he sails it through. So it's been a big night for the rookie from Oklahoma, Austin Seibert. A perfect 3 for 3, including a 54-yard field goal. And he's got to be feeling pretty good about his night.
He's got to be feeling good, 3 for 3, like you said. But I'll tell you, the offense has to be a little bit disappointed because the field position, Jay, that they've started these drives with. You know, they've had a short field on almost every drive, and they're walking away with field goals, and that's always disappointing for an offense.
Yeah, you want to score touchdowns. That's the most sure way to come away with victories. And, you know, we talked about it earlier. Obviously, Baker's working with an assorted group of receivers that, by the way, happens to not include Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham. Also, tight end David Njoku is out. And the starting running back is also not playing here tonight. And I think that was a situation where, you know, why take a chance? You know what Chubb can do. Certainly don't want to get him hurt here in the preseason. So Ronald Jones back to receive for the Buccaneers, a short kick. And we'll see a return here, fielded at the 4. Jones with some space up the right side, but Robert Jackson with a terrific trip-up tackle that really, Tim, avoided what could have been a big return.
That could have been a really big return because he was going to get the edge that time if Jackson didn't make that play, and does a great job just keeping contained that time. Barely gets enough of the Bucs ball carrier to get him on the ground.
Special teams coach Mike Prefer telling us last week that so many of these bubble guys really have to shine on special teams. That's their way to an NFL roster, and we've seen it throughout the last couple of games. That time by Robert Jackson, making a really nice play to stop what could have been a big return. Andre Ellington into the game now as the Bucs running back. We're going to have a hold here as Jameis Winston is running for his life. Finally hit and dropped after the incomplete pass, but I'm pretty sure we saw a hold in there.
There was definitely a hold in there, and I'm sure that's what the call is going to be, but Jameis under constant pressure so far in this game.
Take a look at it here. Schobert coming free at the quarterback, and Ellington had really no choice. He was beaten, he had to grab his man.
Holding. Offense, number 34. Penalties half the distance to the goal. Still first down.
He said number 34. It was actually on Andre Ellington, number 32. Tim, we've had 5 sacks by this Browns defense. There's still 6 minutes to go in halftime. 5 sacks. It could have been 6. There was another tackle for a gain of 1 that would have been a sack. If you extrapolate that out over a game, you've got 12 in the first game. You do that for 16 games in the season, and that, of course, will never happen. But you've got 192 sacks.
Yeah, these guys are getting after the quarterback, and you can tell Jameis Winston is starting to get frustrated. He has no time to throw the football whatsoever.
Winston this time finds his man in Godwin. Eric Murray on the stop after a nice pickup to get some of those penalty yards back. He spotted near the original line of scrimmage, so 2nd down and 10 for Winston and the Bucs. It's going to be fun watching these guys get after opposing quarterbacks.
It is going to be fun. It's been fun tonight. It's just constant pressure, and also they're doing a great job versus the run as well, just playing in the backfield and creating havoc.
Andre Ellington, the lone back. Winston to throw, wants to go deep. And overthrowing and out of bounds to Perriman, and it's a good thing because there was some separation there on that play. But Winston's throw just sails on him.
Yeah, he's going to be frustrated with himself because Perriman had a couple steps that time and was available for a big play, but Jameis threw the football out of bounds. And you always say to yourself as a quarterback, give your receiver a chance. You can't catch it out of bounds. You got to keep it in the field of play for so your guy can go up and make a play for you.
No one happier about that throw than Terrence Mitchell, because that would have looked bad on tape.
He was beat on that one.
He was beat on that one. 3rd down 10 for Winston and the Bucs. Browns look like they want to come after him. Schobert drops back in coverage. Winston, all kinds of time back there, scrambles to his right. The throw is incomplete. Godwin, the intended receiver. A lot of time that time.
A lot of time, but you see Jameis, he didn't expect to have that much time because he hasn't had it all night long, so he's just a little bit rattled right now. And when you get so much pressure, you've already taken 5 sacks. The clock speeds up in your mind as a quarterback, and you just don't feel like you're going to be able to stand back there. So I think Jameis was actually surprised at how much time he had on that play.
to Ernest Johnson, back to return the Browns' special teams play. Overall, it's been a terrific night by this Browns defense. Returnable, Ernest. Ernest fields it inside the 40 and takes it again over midfield. So, Tim, that's been the theme of the night. The Browns have started in plus field position all night, but can't find the end zone.
Return team number 86. During the kick, 10-yard penalty from the end of the kick. First down.
Farrell Brown guilty of the grab. So you look at Baker's numbers, Tim, and it's been a bit of a struggle for him. We talked about the fact he doesn't have a lot of his starting weapons, and that might explain some of it, but how do you explain all of it?
Well, I think the Bucs are doing a good job in the secondary, playing a lot of tight man coverage. The Browns receivers are having a little bit of an issue separating against that man-to-man coverage, and Baker is just a little high on a few of the throws. When he has had guys available, he's missed them just a little bit, just a hair off, and he's just not been his normal self where he's coming out super accurate and throwing pinpoint lasers to all of his wide receivers.
7 of 18, 50 yards, so the penalty really hurts the Browns. It's in essence a 30-yard penalty because they were ready to start the ball inside Bucs territory again, but instead it's back the Browns up to the 25-yard line, call it the 26, as Baker stays in. Kareem Hunt, the ball carrier. A flag is down. See a grab?
I think it's going to be a holding on the Browns.
Holding. Offense, number 88. 10-yard penalty. Replay, first down.
Demetrius Harris had a drop earlier and now guilty of the hold. Tight end was one of the positions that Freddie talked at length about with us yesterday. Wants somebody to separate themselves and move into that clear backup role, but to this point, he said no one's taking charge.
No one's taking charge. You got guys like Farrell Brown, Seth DeValve, Demetrius Harris, those guys fighting for that position, and one of those guys needs to step up and start making some plays for this offense.
It's been tough for DeValve, who just can't seem to get on the field. Tough to make a team if you're not healthy. Baker, the quick throw, finds Jalen Strong. He's hit after a move and a couple of yards. So second and long after the Jordan Whitehead stop. And you look at these tight ends. Rico Gathers was added during training camp to replace the released Orson Charles. And this is a situation where the Browns have so many good pass-catching receivers. One of the things they want most out of their tight ends is the ability to knock defensive linemen off the line. And that's something that's probably going to play a big role into who makes this team as a tight end. Baker, plenty of time, and misfires on his throw to Derek Willis. Was that on Willis or was that on Baker?
I think Baker thought Willis was going to break that route to the sideline and or break that route in, and Willis broke it out, and it was just kind of a miscommunication that time between quarterback and wide receiver. You see here Willis at the top of the route. He goes to the sideline, and he just kind of comes back in.
Yeah,
Baker thought he was going to continue out to the sideline, and Baker can't believe it. He's like, come on now, we got to get on the same page here. It's been a little bit frustrating for Baker so far in this game.
Third down 17 now on what could be the last play of the night for Baker Mayfield. Has time, throws underneath to Johnson, who makes the first man miss, but not Carlton Davis. So that'll bring up a Browns punt, as a couple of penalties really hurt the Browns on that drive.
You know, they were set up in great field position, but a holding call on special teams backed them up, and then the next play they get a holding call from Harris, the tight end, and that really backed them up, and Baker was left with nothing to do but just dump the football off and get out of there without getting a turnover.
Jamie Gillen punted away for the Browns. Nice first effort for him, 50-yard punt first time around. Scotty Miller deep to receive for the Buccaneers. Baker's night, 9 of 22, 65 yards. Not the kind of night he was hoping for, but again, a lot of reasons for that. Ball is fair caught at the 14-yard line. So now we'll see Jameis and the Bucs try to do something with the final 3:09 to go here in the first half. It's been all about this Bucs defense, Tim, particularly the front four.
Yeah, the Browns defense playing great up front, getting pressure on the quarterback. Olivier Vernon, 2 sacks in this football game and constant pressure. Jameis Winston running for his life in the backfield. throughout this first half.
The Browns making a huge statement with a couple of big offseason acquisitions. Olivier Vernon coming over from the Giants, and Sheldon Richardson doing a tremendous job for this Bucs defensive front four as well. Quick early throw on that play is to no one, and he had to get rid of it because the pass rush was coming hot and heavy from Anthony Zettel.
Jameis didn't see the blitz that time. They get Zettel coming off the edge. He was free, and I think Jameis thought that his receiver was going to get a side adjustment off of that, and there was no one in the area.
Winston this time with a little more time. Godwin catches it and is brought down near the first down marker. It looks like it'll be a yard short. Eric Murray on the stop.
Good throw that time by Jameis. He's got man-to-man coverage, just a little out route from the slot position. He's able to get that ball out on time and accurately.
Third down is 1 as Winston hurries up to get to the line. His pass complete to Scotty Miller, so the Bucs will move the chains and keep the football.
And sometimes the quarterback, you get in a 2-minute situation like this, and you've been getting harassed all night in the backfield. This kind of speeds things up, gets the defense on their heels, and gives you a little bit more time to throw the football.
Winston 7 of 13, 71 yards now. Wants to throw again, and just a bad throw. Had his man on the break, but couldn't get it to Scotty Miller.
I think Joe Schobert really affected that throw that time. Jameis had to get rid of it way before he wanted to. Schobert right in the face of Winston. You see Schobert coming right up the middle, splits a little bit of a double team. The back was supposed to come over and get him and was late doing that and got in the face, and Jameis could not step into that throw.
So if it's not the first line, it's that second line of Browns defenders putting pressure on Jameis Winston tonight. Second down 10, 2:18 to go in the second quarter. Winston flushed again, this time Coley chasing, and Winston's going to pick up a couple before going out of bounds.
Been really impressed with the Browns secondary on the rare occasion when Jameis Winston does have time to throw the football, Jay, and he's dancing around back there in the pocket. There's nowhere to go down the field. These Browns defenders are just locking up these Bucs wide receivers.
He had to put his tap dance shoes on for this game, and that's been the case all night long.
And take a look at the secondary here. There's just nowhere to go for Jameis as he's flushed out to the right and takes that side of the field, and everyone's covered over there, and he just has to tuck it and run.
We've reached the 2-minute warning. It's been all Browns, 9-0, but the Bucs trying to add points before the half. It's been a big night for Austin Seibert. It's been a big night for the Browns defensive front, but Bernie Kosar, Dustin Fox down on the field. Let's talk about Baker Mayfield.
Well, looking at the quarterback play and watching Jameis Winston out here kind of holding the ball a little longer than for sure Baker Mayfield is. Almost a full half a count to a whole second. I want to say too long, and that's a good indicator of the new system and indecision from a Tampa Bay perspective. From the Browns perspective, this is why Browns fans should be really excited. This sense of timing that Baker is showing within the pocket and his presence that we've been talking about, incredibly impressive.
Well, that deep ball miss from Winston will give the Browns a chance to work that 2-minute offense. 1:54 to go. The Bucs are going to punt it away to D'Ernest Johnson and the Browns, and I'm sure Freddie feels good about that. It gives his offense a chance to run the 2-minute.
Yeah, it'll be a great opportunity for Baker to come out and see if they can get something going, get a touchdown on the board before the half. You got, a minute and 50 seconds left here. You got one timeout, so plenty of time to get something done.
Big kick to Johnson, who starts his return up the middle of the field and is finally brought down at the 30-yard line, but another flag on a special teams play. It looks like that's going against the Browns. Well, they're talking it over, maybe not so cut and dry. An official is without his hat, which would usually signal to him that a Bucs defender went out of bounds.
That's what it usually signals, so we'll see what they call here. We'll see if he went out of bounds, he was forced out of bounds, or if he went out on his own.
And that's what they're talking over now. 53-yard punt, 15-yard return as it stands. But that, of course, has everything to do with how this penalty shakes out. So Seibert, 2 thumbs up. Browns defense, particularly that front 4, 3 thumbs up if you
Yes,
can.
Absolutely.
They've just been tremendous tonight, and it looks like they're ready to tell us what happened. And I would imagine that Freddie would be disappointed in the Browns offense, which had great field position several times. And
There are 2 fouls on the play, 1 on each team. Unsportsmanlike conduct against the kicking team, going out of bounds and staying out of bounds. Personal foul, clipping against the return team, number 86. By rule, the ball will be placed at the spot of the return team's foul. First down, Cleveland.
so Pharaoh Brown whistled for the penalty.
Yeah, we talked about how these guys can make the club on special teams, and Demetrius Harris had a holding penalty on special teams on the last punt, and then this time the other tight end, Pharaoh Brown, has a clipping call on him.
Maybe Seth DeValve is watching saying, good thing I'm not playing.
That's right.
I can't hurt myself without being out there anyhow. Baker stays in, makes the throw, but unable to bring the ball in was Derek Willis. Good throw again, but just not being able to bring it down was Derek Willis.
Well, that's the type of throws we're used to seeing from Baker Mayfield, right on the money, right where only his receiver can get it. Willis was only able to get one hand up and try to pull that in, but excellent throw that time, and great timing on the route, on the throw by Baker Mayfield.
Boy, Vernon Hargraves was running step for step. There was no separation there. There was one place Baker could put the football, and that's exactly where he put it. 2nd and 10. Baker over the middle finds Higgins, who's immediately hit and dropped. And now the Browns have to hurry up and get to the line of scrimmage. Jordan Whitehead on the stop. And here comes a 3rd and 3. A buck 15 and counting here shortly. Baker lobbing one that Harris can't get to. A lot of air underneath that throw, but it falls incomplete.
I think Baker's arm got hit as he was trying to deliver that football. I think Baker got a little bit confused that time. I think he read man coverage pre-snap, and then the Bucs dropped out into a zone. But you see Baker try to deliver the ball, and absolutely he gets it by Ndamukong Suh, gets that big arm up in there, and Baker can't follow through, and that's why you saw the ball flutter out like that.
And that means the Browns will give it back with just over a minute to go. Here in the 2nd quarter, Jamie Gillen will handle the punting duties all night long for the Browns. Freddie had hinted to us yesterday that he would go with the 2 rookies throughout the game, and right now it appears that's going to be the case. That is a beauty of a punt that hits a yard out of bounds, but will be marked down inside the 20 again. That had terrific hang time. He got it to spiral and turn over, and Gillen has done nothing to hurt his cause here tonight.
Both of these rookies are really performing well tonight, and Seibert on the field goals, and then you got Gillen on these punts, and what he's doing, he's getting the hang time on them, and with no return, which is the key.
We talked earlier about his 74-yard punt from a week ago, and we loved it. Fans loved it. Freddie the next day said that you would have liked the kick to have more hang time. He said a better punt returner would have fielded that and had all day to return it. But the end result was a good one. Winston with the throw and reception, enough for a first down, but there's a flag down in that Bucs backfield, perhaps another hold.
Illegal hands to the face. Offense, number 69. Penalties half the distance to the goal. Replay, first down.
It's DeMar Dotson, number 69, over there working against Chris Smith, and you see the hands to the face, and he just doesn't get them off. He keeps them underneath the face mask and really just stays on there, and the official's going to call that one every time.
Dare Ogunbowale brought that one down, had enough for a first down, but now the Bucs are really pinned back. The Bucs do have a timeout left, or the Browns rather have a timeout left, so let's see what happens here in the last 50 seconds. Winston throws, the ball is knocked away by Joe Schobert, the terrific pass defending linebacker. O.J. Howard, the target. So Tim, the Bucs do the Browns a favor there, stopping the clock, bringing up a 2nd down and 19 situation.
Jameis had a lot of time to throw that time, but Schobert, I'll tell you, he did a great job because O.J. Howard is a tough cover out in open space. He's a very good pass receiving tight end, but Schobert able to undercut that and get a hand on the football.
Winston to throw, throws it to the dump man, and Ogunbowale with a nice pickup to make it 3rd and manageable now. 3rd down and 8 after the 11-yard pickup. Inside 30 seconds now and counting. Winston knocked away. Eric Murray in coverage. Godwin, the intended receiver. So here the Browns will have around 10 seconds after the punt. Not enough time to do anything. Maybe enough time for a Hail Mary if they can get it around midfield.
Maybe so. We'll see what happens here on the punt return, but I think that more than likely we're just going to see Baker Mayfield come out and take a knee.
Terrific defensive stand there. Winston 9 of 19, 88 yards. A returnable punt. Johnson fields it just inside the 40. Makes a move, takes it inside Bucs territory. And so here we go. 45-yard line for Baker and the Browns. That's Hail Mary range with 8 seconds to go.
Yeah, definitely so. And, you know, Jackson's done a great job here on special teams on these returns, able to find those seams. And he's got a great burst as well, a lot of speed, and setting the Browns up with an opportunity here if they want to take a shot at the end zone.
Johnson's impressed the Bucs coaching staff. In fact, Freddie had said earlier that, you know, here's a guy that may be under the radar, but has really impressed the coaching staff. 40-yard punt, 16-yard return. Perhaps Baker tries for a first down and maybe setting up a long field goal.
Yeah, you can take a shot to the sideline here.
And Mayfield's pass is intercepted, and that will end any thought of Browns points before the half. Jordan Whitehead stepped in front of the Mayfield throw, and that brings the first half to a close, with Cleveland getting 3 field goals from Austin Seibert. They take a 9-0 lead into the half, and that probably ends the night for Baker Mayfield, which wasn't his best effort.
Not his best effort. He's definitely not going to be pleased with this, and Freddie Kitchens going to be upset with his offense not being able to get a touchdown on the board in the first half.
John Doss down on the field with Freddie Kitchens. John?
Boy, Coach, defense really dominated that first half, especially yours in that pass rush.
Yeah, they're playing with some passion, some energy. They're playing one play at a pass. Offensively, we're not making any plays. The balls are there to be made, and we're not making any. So that's what usually happens. When you can't protect and you don't make any plays, that's what happens.
You're giving the rookie the reins tonight, and Austin Seibert, very impressive there in the first half.
Yeah, he was. He did what he was supposed to do, hit it between the 2 yellow poles.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Well, he has a great way of breaking things down to his most simple form. Did a great job of putting the ball between the 2 yellow poles. That he has. 9-0 Browns. Much more from Raymond James Stadium. Our halftime show is coming up. Back from Tampa. The Browns with a 9-0 lead, but not a whole lot of pretty offensively for either teams. In fact, we have 150 total yards of offense between these two teams as the Browns have a 3 field goal lead. Not beautiful, but it's a 9-point lead for the Browns.
It's a 9-point lead, but I think a lot of frustration from Freddie Kitchens and Baker Mayfield the way the offense played. They were on a short field most of the first half and still weren't able to get the football into the end zone, had to settle for 3 field goals. So definitely disappointed in that.
I know Baker was excited to get a half. He got the half, but when you take a look at his quarterback stats, it's not going to be a line that he's going to be able to find anything positive when you think about it. Time now for our quarterback stats, brought to you by First Energy, your hometown energy team. 26 attempts, just 10 throws, 72 yards, and the interception. Again, our First Energy quarterback stats brought to you by First Energy. Tim, first downs, something that I circled on the stat sheet. The Browns just 1 of 9 on 3rd down, and the Buccaneers just 2 of 9. It's been hard to watch.
It has been hard to watch offensively, but both defenses have played really well. I think the Browns defense obviously has been unbelievable the way they've been able to get after Jameis Winston, and he's never looked comfortable in the first half.
Dustin Fox down on the field wants to talk a little bit about special teams, and Dustin, why not?
Yeah, guys, the special teams this season is something that looks like it could be special, and frankly, I think it all comes from Coach Mike Prefer, who he just brings a certain energy to this Browns team, and special teams, it's a want-to, right? You have to be able to get out there and have effort. You have to hustle. Guys have to buy in, and I think when you have a head coach in Freddie Kitchens who gives Mike Prefer time in practice to emphasize things, it really helps, and helps the other guys on the team buy in as well.
Prefer is a former military guy, talks a lot about discipline, execution.
Of course.
And his special teams has been very good so far this preseason. Came over from the Vikings, where his special teams unit always one of the tops in the NFL. That kick return brought out, and Ernest Johnson gets it down past the 20-yard line, and as we expected, that will bring to an end Baker Mayfield's night. Drew Stanton will get a chance to show what he can do.
Drew Stanton, the 12-year NFL veteran, didn't play at all last week against the Colts, but we're going to see some action here tonight just to get him a little bit of work. He is going to be the backup to Baker Mayfield, so if something were to happen, Drew is going to be the guy.
Jalen Strong still in at receiver. And the Browns will start the second half by keeping it on the ground. You talk about the stats for Baker not being impressive. The run game stats really not good either. 5 rushes for 11 yards for Kareem Hunt. Just offensively, a really tough night for these Cleveland Browns. Thank goodness for that ferocious defense, particularly the front four, coming up with 5 sacks. Denzel Ward also helping out in the sack department. Bad snap. Stanton has all he can do to scoop it up, and he's dropped on the turf at the 7-yard line. So a miscue by this Browns offense here to start the second half. Put them in 3rd and very long.
Yeah, bad snap that time. I think that was Treader still in there at center, but the ball bounced back. Looked like it may have slipped out of his hand when he was trying to snap it back to Drew Stanton in the shotgun.
3rd down and 26 for this Browns offense. Willie's the lone receiver at the bottom of your screen. Stanton looking that way, now throws it underneath to Ernest Johnson, who makes the first man miss and picks up a good chunk of yards, which at least will help with the flip of field position. He's finally brought down at the 26-yard line.
3rd and 25 situation, backed up in your own territory as a quarterback. Really, all you're thinking there is just get a completion. You're really not going to convert that, rarely going to convert that for a first down. So really, you're just trying to give your punter some more room where he can flip this field for you.
Jamie Gillen on to kick it away. Nice high kick. Fielded at the 27-yard line and brought down just past the 30. Pharaoh Brown making the stop on special teams. Tampa Bay's second unit likely to take the field next.
Welcome back inside Raymond James Stadium. Look who we ran into. The Chief, David Njoku, here on the sideline looking very clean. David, offense struggled a little bit there in the first half, but Austin Seibert really stepping up there. The rookie pounded through a few hits.
Yeah, he did great. You know, so far he's, what is he, 3 for 3 right now? He's having a great third game, so yeah, just keep going. Offense is, we're doing all right, you know what I'm saying? We're slowly, gradually getting there, so we've got to keep working.
Are you like the rest of us? Are you itching to see all this offense get put together week 1 of the regular season?
I can't wait, man. I can't wait. We're really excited, you know. We're working really hard in camp, as you see, and we just got to just keep going.
By all accounts, it seemed like a really good camp. You've had a few of them now. How did this one feel differently than the others, maybe?
Definitely different feeling. Things just, we're working more, for me and the team in general, as an offense. We're doing a lot of great things. We just got to keep it up.
Second year under a guy calling the plays in Freddie Kitchens. He did it for the second half of last year. Second year with Baker Mayfield. Are you feeling that? I mean, Jarvis as well, all you guys that were together last year. Does it feel like it's coming maybe a little more fluid this year?
Oh, of course, for sure. We just have so much more chemistry, so we're really excited to get this started.
David Njoku, thanks so much. J10, back to you guys.
John, thank you very much. Blaine Gabbert in now at quarterback for the Buccaneers. Facing a 3rd down and 2. We noticed, Tim, that Freddie decided to keep the first-team offensive line in to start the second half. He mentioned going to half he wasn't happy with coverage, pass protection, so perhaps he wants to get a little more work.
Yeah, I think so. I think he wants to give Drew Stanton an opportunity to go out there and get some work with some good protection and see what he can do with this offense.
Gabbert's throw complete for a first down. Tanner Hudson brings it in. And there is an injured Brown down on the field. It is Greedy Williams, the rookie from LSU. 2nd-round pick. He's had a good camp in the game against Washington. He did have a little miscommunication on a blown coverage, but came back strong to make an interception. And the knock on him coming out of LSU was not much of a tackler. He's done everything that we've expected of him to do, and suffers an injury on that play. We'll have to see if we can get an update on what it is.
He's been a willing tackler so far, Jay, as you mentioned. In the Washington game, I can remember he made 2 really nice plays coming up and containing the edge and getting the ball carry on the ground. So he's shown that he's willing to do that, and we know he can cover and make plays in the secondary.
He did everything right. He went low on a much bigger player. We'll get you an update as soon as possible. So 1st and 10 now. The Bucs close to midfield. Blaine Gabbert in at quarterback. Finds his man out of the backfield. And a couple of yards after the catch will be good enough for a Buccaneers first down. That's Andre Ellington on the catch and run.
Gabbert doing a nice job so far in this drive, getting rid of the football on time, on rhythm. You see that time he looks it down the field, finds his outlet receiver. Blaine's a veteran. He's not going to stand back there and hold the ball. He's going to get rid of it and try to keep the chains moving.
Phillip Gaines making the tackle. 1st and 10 from the 40 now. They'll keep it on the ground with Ellington, who has a big hole up the middle. Another Bucs first down after the 11-yard carry.
Looks like the Bucs offensive line did a nice job that time of washing the Cleveland Browns offensive line down, and Ellington made a nice cut that time, seeing it backside, and put his foot in the ground and was able to cut that thing all the way back and find the seam in the Browns defense.
So the 2nd-team offense having some early success here in the first half. You mentioned Blaine Gabbert, guy that's been around. He knows the drill and certainly looked every bit the part tonight. Quick throw this time. Moving forward for a pickup of about 4. On the reception was Matthew Eaton. Second down 5. Bucs staying on schedule here. Gabbert starting 4 for 4, 33 yards. Play action. Tipped. The throw over the middle was tipped before it got to the receiver. Intended receiver was Tanner Hudson.
I thought Blaine forced that one a little bit. There was a lot of white jerseys in the middle of that middle of the defense. He tried to sneak it in behind. I think he was trying to throw it behind Taylor there. Taylor had his head turned, but good job by the Browns underneath coverage of getting a hand on that football.
Phillip Gaines making that play. 3rd down 5 now. Browns showing like they want to bring pressure. Gabbert flushed and will run for the first down. And this now the deepest penetration for the Buccaneers offense all night, and Gabbert is down on the turf with an injury.
Didn't see what happened there. It almost looked like he landed on the football. He kind of landed awkwardly on the fall.
Well, the Bucs training staff quick to get to Gabbert. See if we can pick something up here on the replay. Well, looked like his left hand, and he's immediately calling for it. That doesn't look good. We'll sort it out when we come back to Raymond James with the Browns clinging to that 9-0 lead. Not a good sign for Blaine Gabbert in his 9th season out of Missouri. He was a very high draft pick in the first round when he came out. A nice insurance policy for Bruce Arians, but you don't want to speculate, but that didn't look good. So Ryan Griffin will come in his absence and drills the first ball complete to Tanner Hudson.
I hate to see that for Blaine Gabbert. Obviously, it looked pretty serious. You don't want to speculate, like Jay said, about the injuries, but he was obviously holding his left arm, left wrist area, so hopefully he's okay. But, you know, Ryan Griffin is a guy I think they have a lot of confidence in as well. He's had a great preseason, had a big week last week, and can really throw the football. And I think Bruce Arians has a lot of confidence in Ryan Griffin.
6-year man out of Tulane, signed out of school with New Orleans and spent most of his time there prior to coming to Tampa Bay. Griffin hit as he throws, and that's incomplete, but there's a flag down. Tim, what'd you see?
Looked like pass interference on the Browns that time. It's going to be Robert Jackson. I think he got beat on a double move and just grabbed the receiver.
Prior to the pass, illegal hands, hand to the face. Defense, number 34. It's 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Robert Jackson with the desperation move, and here's another look.
See Jackson here working on Scotty Miller, just grabbing him the whole time. Well, that's the other side. There was a hold on that one as well on Pipkins, but on the top of the screen here, you'll see Robert Jackson just get the hands to the face. He was beat on the double move for a touchdown and did a good job actually preventing the touchdown and making the Bucs work for it here.
Jernard Avery in Griffin's face, forcing the quick throw. Ellington hit at the line and dropped right there. Looked like Devereaux Lawrence was in on it. And this is a guy, young guy, that has at times really flashed for this Browns defense. Coaches are high on his future. Also Sheldrick Redwine sticking his nose in there, helping out. Second down and goal from the 6 now. Ellington on the carry, maybe a yard. That'll give the Browns defense 3rd and goal from the 5. So we talk about Devereaux Lawrence, and now this is just a depth issue, but Coley's a guy who has started much of the last 2 seasons for this Browns defense, and Aquale is another guy that we know can play, and this just gives you a peek at the depth that this Browns defense has.
It's a good problem to have, you know, especially up front, that front 4, where they really have a lot of talent to rotate a lot of bodies in there at all those positions.
Griffin from the gun, going to the middle of the end zone and unable to bring it in is Tanner Hudson. 4th down situation, and the field goal unit checks in.
The Browns defense once again very good down here inside the tight red zone. The windows are tight down here, and I thought that Ryan Griffin did a good job putting this football up high for his wide receiver to go up, or his tight end actually, to go up and make a play for him. But Adarius Taylor all over Hudson on that one.
Cairo Santos on to try a kick. Matt Gay missed the Bucs' first attempt off the left upright. This, a 23-yard try, and he bangs it through, so the Buccaneers are on the board. It's been all field goals tonight. The Browns up 9-3 from Raymond James. The Browns encourage all fans to arrive early for home games this season. All fans will now enter First Energy Stadium with secure mobile tickets, so make sure you download the app so you're ready for game day. Have your mobile tickets visible on your device when approaching the gates. And the Browns sales staff telling me this week, make sure you get your tickets in order before you get to the stadium, because if you've got 40,000 folks trying to use the app at one time with limited cell service in the area, it could be tough. So get it all straightened out the day before. To Ernest Johnson on the return, has some room up the right side and pushes his way forward past the 30-yard line. So once again, Ernest Johnson showing out on special teams. Drew Stanton, obviously a seasoned veteran and a great presence in that quarterback room. Damian Ratley, the Browns receiver, on his backup quarterback.
Drew is a really smart guy. I don't think you understand how smart Drew really is. Like, Drew will tell you something that's going to work, and that thing works. So Bake literally learns from him. And so you got to think of it in that kind of way, like, Bake's going to be dangerous. Drew's smart as can get. Probably the smartest football player I've ever been around.
High praise from Ratley on the backup quarterback, Drew Stanton. A late flag comes flying in from the secondary.
Illegal block in the back. Offense, number 78. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Replay, first down.
Jake.
Dustin Fox down on the field. Dustin?
Guys, I think it's interesting here. Drew Stanton in with the twos, but he's not really in with the twos. He's in with the starting offensive line, which I think shows you how valuable they feel the backup quarterback position is. They don't want to get Drew Stanton hurt in this game.
Well, there's that, and I also think that, as we talked about earlier, going to halftime, Freddie not happy with the protection and perhaps wants them to get some more reps.
Yeah, not happy at all. And, just going back to Ratley's comments on Drew Stanton, I think that's such a luxury for Baker Mayfield to have a guy who's been in the league, who's been around so many other great quarterbacks in the league that he can learn from. And I had a guy when I first got here to Cleveland, and Ty Detmer, who had been in the league 10 or 12 years or so when I was a rookie, and I learned so much from him.
Pass interference. Defense, number 29. The ball will be placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic first down.
Ryan Smith whistled for the pass interference on Derek Willis after the incompletion. Bernie, what do you have?
Well, one of the strategies of keeping the first offensive line in with Drew Stanton is trying to get that offensive line more work, more cohesiveness with that, and then possibly having Drew have a positive drive here with the first team line and getting that continuity, consistency, and communication down, which is imperative from your backup quarterback with the offensive line.
Yeah, a lot of reasons behind it. So the ones stay out there from the offensive line. Drew looking to go deep, overshoots everybody on the incompletion. Ish Hyman, the intended receiver.
Drew clearly didn't see the middle of the field safety that time. Isaiah Johnson was playing in the middle of the field. You can't throw the post pattern with a single high safety. Drew just kind of lost sight of where Johnson was in the middle of the field and ended up throwing that football right into double coverage. You see here from the high angle, you see the safety on the opposite hash. Drew tried to look him off, but it's such a long throw. The safety has so much time to recover while the ball's in the air and get over there and make a play on the football.
To Ernest Johnson with a nice job in protection throughout this drive. He gets the pitch, looking for room up the left side. I think there was a horse collar in there. I see no flag, but it's clearly grabbed by the
Sure looked like a dangerous tackle to me too, Jay. I thought that was a horse collar as well. And we'll see here Johnson trying to get to the edge and from behind, and I think well, he kind of pulled out right at the end. He did get the hand in there, and maybe the officials thought he got it out in time, but it was close to being a horse collar tackle.
Barrett perhaps got away with one there. We talked about Johnson impressing on special teams, pass protection, running the ball. You hate to say anybody's safe, but it sure looks like he's done everything he can.
He's made a great case to make this football team. He's such a versatile running back, and as you mentioned, Jay, for a young guy, it's very rare to be able to pick up blitzes the way that he does, and obviously he contributes very much on special teams.
Stanton's throw incomplete, and as Johnson runs off, don't know if you had a chance to see it, but he did a terrific job in pass protection there. Taking his man to the turf. He's not afraid to get out there and block in protection, and that's Freddie's talked about that. That's definitely going to have an impact on who makes the team. So Gillen to kick it away again. Active night for him. Bobo Wilson, the deep return man for Tampa Bay. And Gillen gets into this one. Fielded at the 16. Wilson trying to get the corner and does. And Gillen comes up and makes the tackle. That will help your case when you're trying to make a football team.
What a play that time by Gillen, I'm telling you. But you got hair like that, you got to be able to come down and make tackles on special teams.
Gotta love the hair. This is a punter, folks. Making the play. Look at the Scottish hammer. Born in Scotland. And Jamie Gillen is telling his counterpart here, Britton Colquitt, yeah, I took the angle. And look at the pipes on this guy. Those are Tim Couch arms.
The guy's got some guns, man. Hey, if he makes the team, I can see a nutritional, maybe a whey protein supplement line endorsement and a Pert Plus commercial or something with that hair. I mean,
the timing throw to Scotty Miller falls short on the turf. Griffin perhaps threw it just a little too early. Miller wasn't quite out of his break. Greedy Williams, the man in coverage. So Gillen, big night for him. 5 punts, 48-yard average. That's going to get the attention. And that tackle, it's the little things. And that might have been a big thing, because if he doesn't make the tackle there, Wilson had a lot of room in front of him.
A lot of room. He could have potentially turned the corner on that one. And Gillen did a great job flying down the field, took the correct angle, went low, got the guy on the ground. Just an excellent play by the punter.
Griffin having to hurry his throw. It's caught and finally knocked down at the 50-yard line by Hassel after a nice throw and catch. Ryan Griffin moving this Bucs offense into Browns territory.
Great throw and catch that time by Ryan Griffin and Tanner Hudson. And Hudson is another guy who's had a tremendous preseason, playing very well, impressing these coaches. You see him reaching out there with one hand and able to keep his balance and stay up and get about an extra 10 yards out of that play.
Watch this tackle by Hassel. Watch him go right for the ankles.
That's the way you got to go on those
Well
big
done.
guys. Hudson's 240 pounds, 6'5" guy, big tight end. Got to go low.
Hit him low. Griffin, another completion. Nice hit by Redwine to knock the ball carrier down after a gain of a couple. That was Bobo Wilson on the quick toss from Griffin. Nice hit there. Redwine going high. Smaller guy, hit him high.
Yeah, you can go high on these wide receivers, and you know you can get those guys to the ground. And Redwine doing a tremendous job competing, fighting for a job, and certainly plays like that will help his case.
From the U, 8 players from the U on this Browns roster. Alonzo Highsmith with the connection there. Griffin with Ray Armstrong, or Mac Wilson rather, in coverage. And boy, that was a late flag. And perhaps this will be challenged.
Pass interference. Defense, number 51. The ball will be placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic. First down.
I really want to take a look at this one, because I didn't really see Mac Wilson do anything from up here, but we'll take a look at it and see if we can see. Maybe he got the hands in there that we didn't see from our standpoint. And excellent coverage, good inside out. And I guess they said maybe grab the hip on the backside or something, but I didn't see that at all.
Well, neither did Freddie, and Freddie immediately throws the challenge flag. And Tim, this is one of those cases where if this is upheld and they're going to call pass interference that tight,
just get rid of it.
I don't know.
That's not pass interference.
I don't know how you can play football if you can't hand check a guy. And
Cleveland is challenging the ruling of pass interference on the last play.
This will be interesting, because that's as ticky-tack as it gets. That happens on every play in the NFL.
It does. He did have the right hand on the hip, but he did not pull it. He just had it basically just resting there. You see, watch Wilson's right hand on the hip of Hudson. He just kind of touched it. He didn't really pull the hip and spin him around. If he did, you would see Hudson's kind of shoulder kind of spin around as he goes up to try to make that play, but that's not what happened. And Wilson, I don't think that's pass interference at all.
Hudson may have drawn the penalty, because as soon as the ball hit the turf, he's looking around for the flag, and it came in a little late. Different angle for you here. There was definitely contact, but to your point, you would think you would have to hook the hip. and it just didn't look like that that was there.
Earlier in the first half, you remember on Jalen Strong down here, when Freddie could have challenged the pass interference and didn't. That was a hook of the hip and a pull,
way
and we
worse.
saw him spin Jalen Strong around. That was a definite pass interference. That one on Mac Wilson, in my opinion, is not a pass interference.
Well, it's going to make for an interesting 2019 season, no question. The new pass interference rule, again, instituted after the incredible miss in the NFC Championship game that really sent the Rams to the Super Bowl and not the New Orleans Saints. Guys, Bernie, Dustin down on the field, we've talked to you about this. I don't know anybody that loves it. Where are you guys on it?
Well, I don't love it. Bernie, your thoughts on it? I think, number one, it just takes
After
forever.
review, the ruling on the field stands as called as defensive pass interference.
Bernie, what do you think about it?
Cleveland will be charged with a first-team timeout.
Well, actually, I was talking with the referees and side judges in pregame warm-up. I don't want to get on them, but that is simply put absolutely not interference.
And it's just taking up too much time, guys. We're going to challenge all these ticky-tack calls, and they're going to uphold the calls. What's the point?
Well, and it's just not pass interference.
That's a good point.
No, I mean, if you're going to go back and take a look at it and you see it's clearly not pass interference, what's the point of even having that rule?
Absolutely, Tim.
That is the 6th sack of the night. This time it's Devereaux Lawrence getting to Ryan Griffin. He came free, almost untouched. Looked like he shot the A-gap. Someone had a blown assignment.
Yeah, another blown assignment there, and Lawrence playing in the backfield and another sack for this Cleveland Browns defensive front.
6. Wow.
6 sacks. And we have a quarter to play.
Yeah, I'm with Bernie. I mean, I don't know what universe that is pass interference. And when you juxtapose that with the no call last year in the NFC Championship game, this could become a real issue for the 2019 season. Flag down. Griffin has his man up the left side, and he overshoots him. That could have been a touchdown, but Anthony Johnson unable to bring it in.
Offside. Defense, number 55. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
So Tim, Griffin doing what we saw Baker do earlier. He saw the flag, he knew he had a free play, and he took a shot.
Yeah, good awareness that time. I think that was Jannard Avery jumping off sides, and Griffin did a good job of realizing he had a free shot down the sideline, hanging in the pocket, letting that thing develop and taking a shot.
Second down and 14 then. The Bucs get 5 of those sack yards back on the penalty. And again, the Buccaneers have moved it inside Browns territory. Griffin skips it into his receiver, was facing nice pressure that time by Coley, and he had to get rid of it. And Tim, I mean, it's happened all night.
All night.
Someone's getting free.
Yeah, he's trying to step up into the pocket, but it just takes too long to develop down the field, and Coley delivers a big shot at the end of that one, but Griffin doing a nice job just trying to fight and let something happen.
Wyatt Ray doing a good job applying some pressure too off the edge. This one is caught and good enough for a first down. Tanner Hudson, who's having a big night here tonight for the Buccaneers. A good throw by Griffin.
Both of these guys are impressive so far, Ryan Griffin and Tanner Hudson. Now, I said when Griffin came into the game that Bruce Arians has a lot of confidence in him, and he's had a great preseason, really throws the football well. And Tanner Hudson, the big tight end out of Southern Arkansas, really starting to play well the last couple of weeks and showing what he can do in training camp.
So the Bucs have moved it to the Browns' 29-yard line inside 2 minutes and counting here in the third quarter. From Raymond James, Jay Crawford, Tim Couch, Bernie Kosar, Dustin Fox. Griffin with the give, and it is Dare Ogunbowale with a pickup of about 6. Call it 5 yards. So the Bucs doing a good job staying on schedule, staying in second and short, second and manageable. As they're looking to become the first team to find the end zone tonight. Griffin with the give again to Ogunbowale. Pickup of 3, and that'll bring up 3rd and 2.
Good job of that Bucs offensive line, just washing it down a little bit, giving the young quarterback Ryan Griffin an opportunity here in a 3rd and manageable situation. I would be very aware of where number 88, Tanner Hudson, the tight end, is on this play if I were the Browns.
Well, he's been the go-to man for this Bucs offense tonight, and I'm sure Griffin is looking at him. Now Hudson moves as the up back in the backfield. He was looking for him out of the backfield, and instead it's the dump pass underneath to Jaron Leggett. And Jordan Leggett gets it into the end zone for the game's first touchdown.
Great read that time by Ryan Griffin. They were trying to get the football to number 88, Tanner Hudson, out in the flat, but the Browns played that well. They actually played it too well. Both guys went with Tanner Hudson, leaving Leggett wide open across the middle, and Ryan Griffin did a great job of seeing the blown coverage by the Browns and getting his eyes in the right spot and delivering that ball for a touchdown.
Well, not only were we paying attention to where Hudson was, but the Browns paid a little too much attention to him. Matt Gay on to try the point after, and he splits the uprights, and that gives the Buccaneers their first lead of the night. A nice touchdown drive by Ryan Griffin, the backup to the backup here tonight. Blaine Gabbert out with a left wrist injury, and Griffin has come in and impressed. He's looked very good.
He does look very good. He's very comfortable in Bruce Arians' offense. I think he's getting rid of the football quickly, making great decisions, and his eyes are in the right place. I think that's what you look for in a quarterback. You want to see where his eyes are. If he's seeing the right things and going to the right spot with the football, and Griffin clearly is doing that.
Browns running backs watching together. Hunt, Chubb, Hilliard. So Leggett finds the end zone for the first time for either team tonight. Third-year man out of Clemson. Breaking free, wide open. 21 yards on the touchdown pass from Ryan Griffin. Damon Sheehy-Giuseppe, the terrific rookie story. Deep to receive for the Browns, and he'll bring it out of his own goal line. Has some space up the middle and returns it up to the 26-yard line. So electric. You can see when he sees the hole and decides to go full speed, he goes from first gear to fifth in no time.
He really does. 4.3 speed, and he's already taken a punt back. I think, what was it, 86 yards in week 1 in the preseason, and just the guy that everyone on the team's pulling for. But he's absolutely electric with the football in his hands.
And I don't know that it will be with this football team, but you would have to think that Sheehy-Giuseppe has impressed enough around the league that should he not make this Browns team, he'd be a guy to look for to be picked up by someone else. To Ernest Johnson with the catch and fall forward for a first down. And that will bring to an end the third quarter. The Browns trailing for the first time tonight, 10-9 from Raymond James Stadium.
Welcome back to Raymond James Stadium. John Doss now with Demarius Randall. Brown safety, 9-0 at halftime. That's a defensive player's dream score.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, we just kind of came out hot, and I mean, guys were getting to the quarterback, and everything was working.
That defensive front four finally get together. Miles, Olivier Vernon, Sheldon Richardson, Larry Ogunjobi. How does that make your job different? I imagine it makes it a little easier.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it makes it very, very easy. And I mean, whenever you got guys that can get to the quarterback without blitzing, and we can stay in coverage, I mean, it's going to be a very, very fun year.
This is typically the dress rehearsal. You got 2 weeks until the regular season opener. Is this team ready? Is this team where you think it should be?
Oh, yes. And every day we're going to continue working towards it. Because, I mean, week 1 is just the beginning, and I mean, we got a long season ahead of us, and hopefully guys can stay healthy, and we can keep on pushing.
How long is the blue hair sticking around?
It seemed to be a very, very light blue, so I mean, until it can wash out, I mean, it should be around for a little bit.
Demarius, thanks so much. J-10, back to you guys.
All right, John, thank you very much. Congratulations to Demarius. Went back to school and got his degree from Arizona State in the offseason. Damian Ratley into the game. Actually, no, that's Ish Hyman on the catch. And it's really hard to look at any of these offensive numbers for the Browns and get excited. It's just across the board, it's been a very rough night. The Browns 1 for 11, Tim, on third down. The Bucs have 15 first downs to just 7 for the Browns. You'd never know it's a one-point game.
No, you wouldn't. And the Browns defense has done a good job when the Bucs have moved the football and gotten into the red zone and not allowing them in the end zone until that last possession. But just a frustrating night overall for this Browns offense, and especially Baker Mayfield. I'm sure he's not happy with the performance that the offense put up in the first half.
Stanton hit and dropped. It's another 3 and out for the Browns offense, and the Buccaneers, who have had the ball twice in the second half and turned both drives into points, will get a third shot coming up.
Not much Stanton can do that time. The great coverage in on the back end by that Bucs defense, so he just had to hold the football. Don't get excited for a punt very often, Jay, but I'm kind of excited to see what Gillen does here. He's had some great punts. He's had a great tackle on special teams, and looking forward to seeing what he does on this one.
I'll mention 5 punts, 48 yards, and a key tackle, and another booming punt. It sends the return man back inside the 20. Wilson tries to get the edge, can't do it because he knew the Scottish Hammer was lurking out there in the wings. He knows. 10-9 Bucs. Austin Corbett, the second-year man out of Nevada, 33rd overall pick. Tim, that's as close as you can get to the first round, and he struggled on this play.
Yeah, the Bucs come with a little ET twist here where the tackle goes outside, the end comes back inside, and Corbett simply just didn't see it coming. It's not that he just played with bad eyes that time. You got to be aware when that tackle goes out like that, you got to expect that end to come back around. He just didn't see it coming.
Ogunbowale on the carry for a couple, and all eyes have been on Austin Corbett. Now in his second year. Dustin Fox down on the field.
Guys, when we were in our meeting yesterday, production meeting with head coach Freddie Kitchens, I asked him flat out, I said, is there a sense of frustration? The fact that Austin Corbett has not jumped out and taken one of these jobs. And he said, not a sense of frustration, with a little bit of a pause. But he said sometimes, and Bernie, jump in on this too, guys can take a little bit more time to develop.
Yes, Coach Kitchens said absolutely that. But one of the things, and we have an outstanding offensive line coach in James Campton, and one of the principles of good offensive line play, especially at the guard positions, is being able to anchor your body, ankle your feet, and be able to make the blows to the defensive tackles, and also see that ET game that Tim Couch astutely just pointed out.
And remember, guys, this is a guy that started 48 of 49 games at Nevada at tackle. So he never played center or guard in college. In fact, he didn't even play center until the Senior Bowl before the draft. So it's interesting to see him kind of change positions. And I think Freddie Kitchens and John Dorsey are going to be a little bit more patient. But man, I don't know how patient you're going to be. He's got to make plays and get on the field at some point.
After that 3rd and 17 incompletion, the Browns will take over on a punt. And you talk about, and he was careful not to say frustration, but when you look at this Browns draft class from last year, Mayfield, home run, Ward, Pro Bowler, Corbett, we've talked about his struggles, Chubb, Pro Bowler, Chad Thomas, the jury's still out on him, looked better this year and has kind of got it mentally, Coach Kitchens told us yesterday, and on and on and on. It was just a great draft for that Browns 2018 class. But right now, Corbett's the big question mark. Sheehy Giuseppe back to receive. Drags a tackler with him past midfield and into Bucs territory. A nice punt return for Damon Sheehy Giuseppe. Good job on this return, Tim.
Yeah, great job. Good vision that time, just setting up his blocks. And I like the effort at the end of that play. That's what you want to see. And did you see him cover the football up with both hands? And that's what's important. He didn't have the ball out there free. He covered it up. He knew he was going to get contact and just fighting for every extra yard.
Coach Preefer loves it. 50-yard punt, 17 yards on the return. So when you can force the other team into a 33-yard net, you're doing something right. David Blau now, the rookie out of Purdue, in at quarterback for the Browns. Drew Stanton's night done. He was 3 for 6 on the night. And Blau quickly makes a connection to Braxton Miller, who was the midweek signing this week, the former Ohio State Buckeye. He's an athlete, Tim, and he's an asset.
Yes, he is. He's a playmaker. They want to get him involved, and I think Freddie Kitchens and this staff are very excited about Braxton Miller being here. And also it's interesting to see that Blau comes in before Garrett Gilbert. So far in the preseason, in the first 2 games, we've seen Garrett Gilbert come in first. This time, Freddie Kitchens giving David Blau the opportunity to go in first to see what he can do.
Freddie talking about the quarterbacks yesterday said nobody on this roster as a quarterback is a throwaway. Braxton Miller on the completion on the crossing route, and quickly, David Blau has quite a connection. The Purdue and the Ohio State products hooking up.
It didn't take those 2 guys very long to get on the same page, and David Blau to figure out that he likes what Braxton Miller can bring to this offense. The first 2 plays he's been out there, he's put the football in Braxton Miller's hands.
How about this stat? Braxton Miller, 52 passing touchdowns, 3 receiving touchdowns during his years at Ohio State. And we talked yesterday with Freddie Kitchens, and he said coming out of college, he looked like a quarterback running receiver routes. And he said during his time in Houston, he's turned into a guy that looks like a receiver now. That time, some miscommunication on the attempt to Miller, but there's a flag on the play in the area of defensive hold.
Holding. Defense, number 26. 5-yard penalty. Automatic. First down.
So Braxton's numbers during his time in Houston, just 34 receptions, a couple of touchdowns. But again, Tim, I always go back to the play he made at Ohio State against Virginia Tech. The all-world spin move.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
And that play, I think, really sort of surmises what he can do when the football is in his hands.
I think you're exactly right about that, Jay. I think they're very aware of what Braxton Miller can do and excited about what he can do when he gets the football in his hands. It's about teaching him the finer points of running routes and getting himself open.
To Ernest Johnson on the carry. I don't think there was ever any talk about Bernie making the switch from quarterback to wide receiver, but I think he knows how difficult that position switch is, right, guys?
No doubt, it's a challenge for Braxton Miller. And Bernie, you made a great point. We're talking about Bruce Arians' defense with Todd Bowles now, playing tons of press man coverage here at the end of the game. And how much is that, Bernie, going to challenge these wide receivers?
Well, first, the press coverage is absolutely there. It's easy to read. David Blau is going to be able to pre-read these coverages. His sense of timing is impeccable to take this over. And Braxton Miller, being an old quarterback, his understanding of seeing these releases and seeing these blitzes, almost like we were doing at the Fox family reunion on Sunday. He knows how to do releases. He knows how to get open.
Pretty.
Looks like we may have lost Dustin's mic. We'll get that checked on. Seth DeValve finally getting on the field for these Cleveland Browns this preseason. Couldn't bring that one in. That brings up a 3rd and 5 for David Blau. To Ernest Johnson, set to his left. Coverage picked up. Blau forced from the pocket. He's going to scramble for the first down. So he needs to look at Braxton Miller and give him a little wink and say, that's how you do it.
Well, I'll tell you, that's how you do it. But watch the block. We've talked about the pass protection by number 30, Ernest Johnson. Watch him step up and pick up this blitzing linebacker. Boom. He took a shot, but what did he do? He stuck the linebacker right at the line of scrimmage, didn't allow him to get any penetration from the point of attack whatsoever, and allowed Blau to get outside and keep this drive alive.
Doesn't show up on the stat sheet, but that's the play that made the play. Browns in the red zone, brought to you by Serpentini Chevrolet, home of the 20-year, 200,000-mile powertrain warranty. 12-yard run on that play for David Blau. This time he gives it to Ernest Johnson. Flag comes flying in. Johnson scrambles forward maybe for a yard.
Illegal hands. Hands to the face. Defense number 57. 5-yard penalty from the end of the run. Automatic. First down.
Dustin, Bernie, I'd love to hear you guys talk a little bit about Braxton Miller. Take it away.
I just wonder, is a week and change enough time for Braxton to make the team? Because we know we need a return guy, a return specialist, but to come in, Bernie, and you can speak to this because you know how difficult it is to learn an offense in about a week to play wide receiver. Is it enough time?
It's enough. It's not enough time to have the complete knowledge of it, but being, again, an ex-quarterback, having a more global understanding of offenses, I think Braxton Miller is absolutely capable of understanding this offense from a mental standpoint, and you can see his comfortableness out there getting open versus this press coverage using these releases.
That'll be fun to watch. I know all the Buckeye fans out there are rooting for him.
Oh, they love it. Play clock was ticking down. Blau needed to use a timeout. 8:26 to go from Raymond James. Time now for quarterback stats, brought to you by First Energy, your hometown energy team. And it's been a rough night for Baker Mayfield and Drew Stanton. But here comes David Blau, 2 for 3. He has the highest quarterback rating of the 3. He came in tonight with the highest quarterback rating for any Browns quarterback.
He's keeping that going. But, rough night for Baker and Drew. But, for Baker, I think Baker's one of those guys that, every now and then in the NFL, you're going to have a bad first half. These defenses are good, but I have all the confidence in the world Baker would have come back in the second half and played well. Another great throw that time by David Blau for the touchdown.
Touchdown to Dorian Baker, your
Kentucky guy. How about that?
A Kentucky Wildcat. The question is, did he get both feet down? And that's going to be the question. Looking at it on the Jumbotron here, it looked like his right toe was down, but I don't know that the left foot was down with the ball in his hands.
Yeah, I think he only got one down that time. It's what it looked like from the first look, but great throw that time by David Blau. Put that football on the back shoulder and a heck of a catch by Dorian Baker, but unfortunately, I think he only had one foot down.
Good job by Blau of looking off the safety.
Yeah, that left foot never even got down on the ground.
Yeah, that's going to be overturned.
You see possession here, right foot down, left foot, I don't think ever got down.
So most likely the Browns' first touchdown of the night will be coming back. You had noticed when Blau used the timeout because the play clock was ticking down, you had noticed that Braxton Miller was having a conversation with Freddie Kitchens. What do you think that was all about?
Well, I think Braxton, as Bernie was talking about earlier, he understands what defenses are doing. He probably went over there and communicated something with Freddie Kitchens like, hey, this is what I see. I can get open on this route. And it looked like that Blau was trying to go to Braxton Miller's side initially on that touchdown pass. He looked to the right and then came back left because nothing was over there and was able to get the ball to Baker. But, we'll see what they end up calling here on this potential touchdown.
So both head coaches, close friends, former co-workers together in Arizona. We'll wait for the ruling. I don't think this is going to take long to realize it wasn't a catch. Yesterday we had Jalen Strong in the production meetings, and we wanted to get a quick scouting report from the receiver on all 4 quarterbacks. Baker's got the quick release. Drew's the smart guy.
Determined that the receiver only got 1 foot in bounds. Therefore, it is an incomplete pass. It'll be second down and goal from the 9-yard line. Timer, please reset the game clock to 8:22.
As expected, overturned. So we'll go back to that. Said Drew's the smart guy. Garrett is a perfectionist. Said when he doesn't get everything just right, you can see it in his face. And David Blau, he said, he's quiet, but he's tricky. He's a magician. So at the rookie show the other night, David Blau stole the show. One of his tricks, he took 4 $20 bills from Drew Stanton and turned them into $100 bills. That's the kind of magic I can get my hands around.
That's the kind of magic I want my financial advisor to be able to do right there. That's some impressive stuff.
Well, isn't that what you do?
I'm not that good, though. I'm not that good, though.
Blau facing pressure off his back foot, throws it away. And that'll bring up a 3rd and goal. Dorian Baker, again, the intended target. Bucs came heavy after Blau on that play. And Freddie's ripping into somebody. I would want to be on the other end of that headset.
Well, that's in Blau's headset. I don't know if that's a play call or a demand on that one. But we'll see what Freddie's got up his sleeve on this play.
3rd and goal from the 9. Blau hit and dropped. So the Bucs bringing all kinds of pressure. Darian Stewart got to him first. So the Bucs taking a critical sack there. And that'll back them all the way up to the 17-yard line. That'll be a 34-yard try for Austin Seibert.
And that was on David Blau, the rookie quarterback. He just didn't see number 27, Darian Stewart, coming off the edge, and that is his guy. And as a quarterback, and number 4 comes off the edge like that, that you're responsible for him. You either have to slide the protection and get it picked up or throw the side adjustment.
Seibert to give the Browns the lead. He looks like a different guy, Tim. 35-yarder up and good. It's got to be the shoe. We got to get John Doss on what's up with
that. You got to be confident.
You better make it. Browns fans, if you don't know about the Browns YouTube channel, you have to check this out. It's your best single source of Browns team news. They have Building the Browns. Also, this fall, we're debuting a show, Club 46. Tim, I get to sit down with former Browns greats. Phil Dawson there. We saw Paul Warfield. I'm thrilled to, this week, sit down with Tim Couch, and these will air throughout the regular season. It's the Cleveland Browns YouTube channel. To subscribe, go to youtube.com/Browns. I was talking to Sarah Kornikovich on the trip here, or on the trip here earlier this week, and she was telling me that the Browns YouTube following, best in the league. Doesn't surprise me. We have the best fans. And that YouTube channel is just a terrific source of Browns news and information. You have to check it out. So Austin Seibert, 12, Tampa Bay 10. And when you look at these scoring drives, Tim, another short scoring drive, 31 yards. The Browns have 129 yards of total offense, and they lead.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's really surprising for as much firepower as they have on the offensive side of the football. And I know a lot of their big weapons didn't play tonight, but they're so deep at every position that you expect them to come out and put up more than 12 points in a football game.
Boy, Mac Wilson almost got another interception there. Just watch his athleticism here to go up and get a hand on this ball.
Well, he was tracking it, wasn't he?
I said 129 yards total offense. Their scoring drives, their 4 scoring drives have totaled 129 yards. So what that tells you is they've taken advantage of great field position, and the kicker's done his job, and that has to make head coach Freddie Kitchens very happy, because obviously kicker a critical position, and that's been a question mark for these Browns so far this training camp.
Definitely a big night for Seibert, and I'm sure Freddie is very pleased with what he's been able to do and go out here and go 4 for 4. But with the offense, you get down in the red zone and you can't get one touchdown in there. I guess they've been down there 4 or 5 times and haven't been able to punch it into the end zone. Freddie's going to be certainly disappointed in that.
Tagi Sanko, watch this hit, Tim. Scotty Miller, the intended.
He did a good job not leading with the helmet, not too violent, just trying to break that pass up.
Well, those are the plays that oftentimes leads to a defenseless receiver.
Right.
And did a good job there making sure he hit him in the right spot. 3rd down 10 now for Griffin and the Bucs. Quick throw over the middle. It is pulled in by the receiver Justin Watson, and that's good for a Buccaneers 1st down. So Mac Wilson, we saw the athleticism a moment ago. He also wins the 2019 Maurice Bassett Award, which goes to the best rookie in camp, and why not? 6 tackles, 2 picks, 1 for a touchdown. He's had a terrific camp, and the Alabama product looks like he's going to be a fixture in the middle of that Browns defense for a long time. Big hole up the left side. It may have been the result of a hold. Flag comes in. Ogunbowale on the carry, but let's see what the call is.
Offense, number 68. 10-yard penalty. Still 1st down.
Funny how one hold can open up such a huge hole. That's what happened here.
I think that's on the center that time, right there in the center of your screen. He just coming off, working on, who's he working on there that time? It looks like it's on Brandon Bryant, going head-to-head with him, and Bryant trying to fight off and make that tackle, and he just reaches out and grabs him.
1st and 20 now for Griffin, who has led the Buccaneers to a couple of scoring drives. 1 a field goal, 1 a touchdown. Griffin, the quick toss out to his receiver in the flats, and a pickup of about 10 for Scotty Miller, and that'll make it 3rd and manageable now. So we talked about the kickers. Freddie yesterday telling us that he likely would just give this third game to the rookies and see how they can do. And Tim, I think Jamie Gillen and Austin Seibert have more than stepped up.
Well, I think so. I think they both felt really comfortable in this role, knowing they were going to play the entire game. And Seibert has looked more confident to me than he has all training camp and all throughout the preseason. And Gillen is just doing what he's been doing every time he gets a chance to get out there, just booming punts, and also made a tackle on special teams. So very impressive night from both of those rookies.
Ogunbowale, again, the target of the Ryan Griffin pass. Phillip Gaines with the shove out of bounds. Ray Armstrong missed the tackle there. Now you're in a position, if you're Tampa Bay, where a field goal will give you the lead. And that clock is running just over 5 minutes and counting now here in the final quarter from Raymond James Stadium. Tim Couch, Bernie Kosar, Dustin Fox, and Jake Crawford. 3rd down 4. Browns bring 4. Pass is complete, and that's going to be enough for a first down. Again, it's Justin Watson.
I'll tell you, Jay, I'm really impressed with Ryan Griffin. You know, coming into this football game, that time he's backed up. He got a holding penalty. He's backed up 1st and 20. He gets the penalty yardage back there, and he gets himself into a manageable 3rd down. Then he throws that ball out into the flat. He's very calm back there in the pocket. I think he has a very good grasp and a very good understanding of Bruce Arians' offense.
Sonny Lewis Jr. on the tackle for the Browns. So another set of downs for Tampa Bay as they move it into the Browns territory now. Inside 4.5 left in the 4th quarter. Griffin, all kinds of time, finds his man. That's another Buccaneers first down. That time it is Bobo Wilson with the reception. So to your point, poised, making the throws, making the reads, doing everything you want a quarterback to do.
Yeah, that time he gets outside of the pocket, just gives himself an alley to throw that football in. It clears things up very much for the quarterback, and it's just a crossing route that time by Bobo Wilson. And, you know, that's a hard route to cover. It takes a long time for that thing to develop and for those secondary defenders to cover that thing for so long.
Ogunbowale, the lone back in the Bucs backfield. 1st and 10 from the 33. He gets the carry. Brought down after a couple. So we saw the Browns get some big turnovers in that first game against the Redskins. They had the 2 picks from Mack Wilson. Grady Wilson had an interception. They've been quiet on the takeaway front. They've done a very good job this year of taking care of the football. But this is where you need your defense to step up and take the ball away.
Yeah,
see if they can do it.
Yeah, you need a big play from your defense here. You know, at worst, just try to push the Bucs back here. I would expect Steve Wilkes, the defensive coordinator, to come after Ryan Griffin on this play. You're facing a 2nd and long, and right there on the 30-yard line, getting close to field goal range, actually. So maybe try to blitz him and bring it. Here comes the blitz, and try to push him back out of the field goal range. But the Bucs are able to slide a little draw right under where the Browns brought the blitz from.
Andre Ellington, ball carrier, and that makes it 3rd and short. And you start looking at the clock and where they are on the field. You give up a first down here, and now you start working into your timeouts. And that, of course, puts your offense at a disadvantage because likely they will get the ball back, but they may do it without any timeouts.
Yeah, it makes it tough on the offense to have to drive in a 2-minute situation with no timeouts. The quarterback has to be very efficient or where he throws the football and have to be very aware of the clock and what's going on in the game.
Andre Ellington, the lone running back. He'll likely get it. 3rd down 2. He does. And squeaks forward past that Browns defensive front. And that's a big first down pickup for the Bucs because now the Browns are going to have to eat up those timeouts. They had him.
Yeah, they had him. Just a good effort that time. Just fighting for that first down yardage.
Bucs will have to run at least one more play before the 2-minute warning, so the Browns will get a stoppage there. They have all 3. Very important here that they don't give up another first down. Dare Ogunbowale, the lone back for the Bucs. Griffin trips and has to eat it.
Boy, that was a dangerous play by Griffin. He tripped coming out of off of center. He almost tried to hand that football off, and the Browns almost got fortunate that he fumbled that one.
That would have been a break. Doesn't happen, though. Bring up 2nd and long for Tampa Bay. We're at the 2-minute warning. 12-10 Browns. I goofed. I said the Browns had all 3 timeouts. They had used one earlier when the play clock was ticking down. They have 1 left. Story of the night? I think it's easily the kicker and the punter, Tim.
Yeah, I think so. Both these guys have been impressive, but Seibert has been right down the middle with his kicks and very confident out there. He looks good. He looks like he belongs. I think he's done a lot to earn the starting job for himself. But also, how about Jamie Gillen? He's just booming punts out there. Giving his hang time has been excellent. Giving the coverage units time to get down there and make some tackles. But the play of the night is the tackle that he made on special teams and just flying out there with the hair flying around and getting the ball carrier on the ground. Excellent play that time by the punter.
Well, Bobo Wilson with the catch, a late flag. Here's that tackle for Gillen. You said he reminded you of who?
Like Troy Polamalu from the Steelers with that hair flying around. And Gillen, he lifts a lot of weights, man. He's not scared to go out there and make some tackles.
Dude's jacked for a punter.
He is.
Personal foul, lowering the head to initiate contact. Defense, number 52. That penalty's half the distance to the goal. Automatic first down.
Well, that is big because with 1 timeout remaining, the Bucs now, with 1:53 to go in the game, can essentially chew a lot of this clock and try a go-ahead field goal with about a minute to go if the math works out the way it should. Who knows, with an incomplete pass or whatever can happen. But Ogunbowale is the lone running back, and you'd think that the Bucs would play it safe here, keep it on the ground, make the Browns use that last timeout, and then kick the football. And we talked about the run defense for the Browns. It's going to be critical. Teams are going to try to move it on the ground. And Sheldrick Redwine is the Browns player down.
There was a big collision on that when Redwine came up and made that tackle. Actually, you see he's pointing to his shoulder, and it was a big pop out there, and hopefully he's okay.
Yeah, he's had a nice camp and has a lot of upside. Here's another look at it.
Here's Redwine coming in. You see him let that left shoulder right on the ball carrier, and it was a big hit. I heard it all the way from up here, and that's one of those things where you just hope his shoulder's okay, and he really came in there and stuck his nose in on that play.
Well, the Browns were called for lowering their helmet on a hit the play prior, and it looks an awful lot like Ogunbowale does the same thing on that play. And he immediately grabbed that left shoulder. So not a good scene for Redwine, the rookie out of Miami, 4th-round pick. I mentioned he's had a nice camp, and let's take a look at the entire 2019 draft class for the Cleveland Browns. Greedy Williams, of course, from LSU. Taki has really shined at times for the Browns defensively. And then there's Redwine, Wilson, Seibert. Forbes has come on. He's had a nice last couple of weeks. And then Lewis in there at cornerback. Redwine leading the team in tackles tonight at 5. See if we can get an update on him before we leave the air. Ogunbowale, still the lone back for the Bucs. He takes the ball, jukes past the first defender, and that's going to be dangerously close to a first down. It'll bring up 3rd and short, and in the meantime, precious seconds ticking off the clock, now a minute and a half to play. So, barring a nice step-up play by the defense, this one has the awful feeling of a 13-12 finish. But, you don't focus too much on the results in the preseason. You'd love to win. It's always nice. But there are a lot of things that the Browns can clean up, particularly offensively, and that I'm sure will be where the Browns coaches spend their time focusing this week. Ogunbowale is hit and stopped short of the first down. So now the Bucs can run the game clock down to about 35 seconds, actually inside of 20 seconds before they have to kick. So who knows, maybe Sheehy Giuseppe can be the hero.
Or would that be something?
I wouldn't kick it to him. And who knows, the Browns special teams, they've been the story of the night. Maybe they get a block here.
Maybe they do, yeah. We'll see what happens.
Certainly going to go after it. And the Bucs use a timeout with 18 seconds remaining, so that's not enough to do anything meaningful on offense, barring a huge return for Sheehy Giuseppe. And Matt Gay has to make the field goal. He has missed tonight. Planked one off the left upright. This one, a chip shot though. Bradley Pinion will be the holder for the Bucs. And he'll put it down at the 16, making it a 26-yard field goal. So let's see if the Browns can get pressure. Good snap, good hold, kick is through, and the Bucs have a 1-point lead with 15 seconds remaining in this football game. Hey, who knows?
Never know. It's all about the return. You know, you get something here on the return, and you just need a field goal out of this thing. So you just try to hopefully get a big return and get a big completion, hopefully out of bounds, and try to get your field goal unit out there and see if you can win this thing.
So when the Buccaneers most need it, they go 15 plays, 72 yards, and most importantly, Tim, they chew up 7 minutes and 14 seconds of game clock.
Yeah, that was a big-time drive by that Bucs offense. And Ryan Griffin, just continued. He impressed me throughout this whole game when he came in for Blaine Gabbert after he had the injury, and just really throws the football well, makes good decisions, really accurate with the football. I was really impressed with him and several of the Bucs players on offense.
Let's write a story, shall we? Damon Sheehy Giuseppe, wouldn't that be something?
Oh, man.
Even if he can get it up to the 50-yard line, that would give the Browns time for one play and then a long field goal try, but this one will not be returnable. Sails through the end zone, and that'll leave 15 seconds for David Blau. So we didn't see Garrett Gilbert tonight. A little bit of a surprise. We knew, though, that Baker was going to play. We didn't know how much. He ends up playing the first half. Drew Stanton plays the third quarter. Blau comes in and finishes it up. How would you grade Blau's performance tonight?
I think he's played well. I think he missed one blitz here coming off the edge where he had to take a sack, but I think he's really thrown the football well. He's looked just like he has throughout training camp and throughout the preseason whenever he's got his opportunities.
Well, his back's against it here. They'll start on the 25-yard line. They'll have 15 seconds, maybe a gadget play.
Yeah, this could be one of those where they try to, complete something across the middle and start just lateraling the football and see if they can come out and make a big play out of it.
Blau to throw. Finds his man over the middle. That's not a smart play because without timeouts, that's going to end it.
Yeah, maybe they can get it. They can get this spike maybe with about 1 second left on the clock, maybe.
And
no.
They didn't whistle the play dead, but it doesn't matter. Pass is incomplete, and that brings to an end the third preseason game of the 2019 season. It's the Browns' first loss and the first loss for Freddie Kitchens in the role of head coach. They had their opportunities. The offense certainly struggled tonight. Baker just 10 of 16. Their 4 scoring drives were all short drives where they were able to take advantage of really good field position. And the end result is a 1-point loss.
Yeah, disappointing on offense. Anytime that you go into the game and you don't get any touchdowns, you have to settle for field goals. You think you probably don't have a great chance to win that game in this league. It's all about scoring touchdowns in those red zone opportunities.
13-12, the final score. The Bucs beat the Browns from Raymond James Stadium. But a big night for the kicker, Austin Seibert.